from Anderson picking him up as in the second semi-final.
Condon to the forward line.
No, not surprising from Kenny Judge.
You won't know which way East Fremantle are kicking.
Lester Smith, a loose man in defence.
And they're into it at centre-half forward for Souths, Hepburn and Reid. Don't be surprised if this is an explosive opening to this grand final.
Traditional rivals. There's Neil Lester Smith. He's on his own in the back line. A loose man in defence at the moment for the Sharks. Ken Judge obviously a little bit worried about this strong breeze and the fact that South are going with it in this first term, because South could easily open up a very handy break in this first quarter.
It's drizzling too, Trevor.
Be nice and cool out there. Dean Irving with a big job today. His marksman is Newman. The grand final of 1992, a derby clash. Newman wins the first tap through the hands of Quill. Collard did well, showed courage. Picked up by Cracker. His kick to centre-half forward. Going back is Atkins. Almost run down by Davidson. He hand-passed it away. Quill's in front. He's held with not in possession, and umpire Garrett is right on the spot. So Peter Quill.
Well, it wasn't a real hard free kick, Trevor.
No, it wasn't. It was fairly soft. But it's a very important one into the breeze. And if he's got his kicking boots on, this could be just a start the Sharks need in this grand final. The kick's on its way. It's close. It sneaked in the right side of the post. No, it didn't. Gee, it was close. First score, first blood to the Sharks. One behind.
So Stephen Grant at full-back for South Fremantle looks to the outer side of the ground. The target out there is Atkins. Condon backing back on him. Condon gave a good contest. Chance for Souths, for East as Anderson gets it to Nichols. Nichols to centre-half forward. Quill. Mark not paid. This is Cracker. 35 metres out. No one in the square. East Fremantle have got the first goal of the grand final. They're 1-1. Souths yet to score. East Fremantle kicking into the breeze.
Well, that's just what East Fremantle would have wanted. A good start, and I don't think any South players touched the ball with any conviction just yet. East Fremantle have had all the play in this first opening stanza. Quill's been in everything. You see him almost took the mark, fired out a quick handball to Cracker, and he was able to kick quite an easy goal in the end. And great start here for East Fremantle.
Brought up the chalk on the goal line. Billy Cracker. Sharks 7 points. South yet to go into attack. Irving wins the tap. Malaxis is there for East Fremantle. Mazurek tried to go away with it. Pushed out there by Amirante. Kicked upfield by South. Into the forward line. Beautifully trapped here by Dunstan, is it? Herneman around his body. Herneman it is. Into the pocket. Browning gets a pickle bounce. Punched away by Edwards from Capewell. And a boundary throw in.
Trevor, just quickly there, Herneman was lined up in the back line, but because Lester Smith's playing that loose man in defence, he's gone down to pick him up. So he's actually lining up in the forward line now.
Edwards doing the ruck work. Newman from the side. Through the hands of Peter Davidson. Matera working hard. Peter Davidson to Malaxis around the corner, and Nichols takes the mark and some treatment.
Well, Mazurek was the player who put the headlock on Nichols, who then kicked straight into Mazurek, close to the line. They'll try and work it out here, East Fremantle. Reid, no, it wasn't Reid. It's Moss. The umpire's whistle's gone.
Oh, he played the original free kick,
Wallace. Yes, it's gone back to Nichols. And that's Herneman, who's limping away. He got kicked in the shin by the look of it. And Nichols gets good carry with that kick up towards centre wing, and East Fremantle kick. But that's interesting to see how far that kick went, because obviously the wind is not such a factor, as there's a chance now for East Fremantle through Davidson. It's knocked on by Anderson, but it's broken up by Souths. Mazurek has it. He's in all sorts of trouble, and he had the chance to get rid of it. That should have been holding the ball. He tried to go through a couple of tackles, got through the first one, ran into trouble the second time.
The problem there, Wally, was all the South players dispersed, waiting for the handball, and no one went in to help him. That was the problem.
Bounce down at left centre wing for East Fremantle, I'm sorry. Cliff Collard kicks it back towards half forward. Herneman is in front. Lester Smith is with him. Herneman doing well. Keeps it in play. He was unfortunate. Hepburn fell on top of his arms as he was about to get the hand pass away. And as a result, we'll have a bounce down, almost down on South's right half forward flank. Newman is there. What a success story Ian Newman's been this year. As it comes down to East Fremantle, they get the hurried kick up towards centre wing. This is Jeff Davidson, gets it to brother Peter, who couldn't hang on to it. Chance for Bilsich. hurriedly over the centre line. Mazurek will be first back to it. Nichols is off in pursuit of him. Mazurek was met pretty solidly, but an East Fremantle player was met more solidly. Jeff Davidson has it. He kicks back towards the 50-metre line. Lockyer coming towards it, gets it to Cracker. Well, that was cleverly done. Back it goes to Lockyer. Lockyer from 55 metres kicks towards the goal square. Hart is there, and he takes the relieving mark.
Very handy player to have in your team, David Hart. And look at the kick, a beautiful kick out wide. Interference for South Fremantle player out there. Gone unseen. Nichols, it was down behind play a short time ago. Matera working close to the boundary. There's Nichols still in trouble. I think he got one in the groin area, and it really stung.
It's significant, the guy coming back to pick him up. Mazurek's also limping, so there might have been a clash there.
Good tap by Lockyer. Put Malaxis in the box seat. He kicks it in play. A kick from the boundary across the face and through for one behind, but that was a spectacular kick from Malaxis, Sandover medalist of 1984. Craig Edwards, the other Sandover medalist in this match today. This is Hines. Favours the outer side of the ground. Target is Grant. Up he goes and pulls down a good mark. Half back for South Fremantle.
Plays on quickly to Cliff Collard. Collard kicks over the centre line. Hepburn is the target. Taken off hands by Hart. Hurriedly to the 50-metre line. Spinks leads in the race for the ball. Tried to kick it to his own advantage. Boy, gee, no one was showing any lack of courage then. East Fremantle in possession at half-back. That's Reid, who charges towards the centre of the ground, and Cracker, who's been in everything in the opening minutes, takes a good mark. Kicks towards the outer side of the ground. Quilly covers some ground. Judged at best. Chips it into half-forward, and Condon. Atkins is with him, but Condon's got the mark. He decides to play on. No one in the square, but he's well and truly offline. Probably not a bad idea, given the wind, to play on, but he didn't finish it off as he should have.
Well, East Fremantle really serving it up to South at the moment, Wally. They're not giving them any chance to break away. They haven't had a chance to use their pace, and it's been the doggedness of East Fremantle so far that's got them where they are on the scoreboard.
Well, this time it's Grant who's on the end of the kick in. A good kick it was too. A good lead. He's at right half back. He kicks towards centre wing. Hepburn is pushed out of it. Newman almost took the mark, but Reid has been penalised, and the free kick will go to Hepburn. South's wanting to play on, but umpire Garrett pulling players back.
First time we've seen Mark Hepburn today. Kick to centre half forward. In fact, it carries centre half forward. Edwards from behind. Juggled it, couldn't hang on. The snap from Matera is offline. Gee, he pounced on that.
Well, he's got a different tag today. He's got Stephen Dorsic following him today. I think he was prepared to have Anderson, but he's not there. I think he might be the player missing, Wally. I haven't seen him
Anderson
today.
was certainly out there.
Yeah, Anderson's there at centre half back.
Okay, so it's not him replacing who Lawrence has replaced, but Wally Matera was able to break away on that occasion.
Nichols has recovered, marks that kick into play from Browning. Kick along the half-back line. Davidson is there. He's pushed into that. Couldn't hang on to the mark. And Peter Davidson that was. And a boundary throw-in.
I think it must be Morfitt that's not out there. Or not in the 20.
I think you're right, Wal. Newman working hard, wins the tap. Knocked away from Firmino by Quill. Stolen by Hart. Kicks to centre half forward. Almost a mark there, taken by South. At the back is Edwards and Browning, two veteran campaigners. And a boundary throw-in. Craig Edwards, Sandover medalist from 1989. Played in the losing grand final a couple of years ago against Claremont. Knocked away by Hepburn. East Fremantle have a chance there, but Reid running into trouble and the ball being held to him. It's 1-3, plays one behind, 8 points to difference, 8 minutes gone in this first quarter.
There are only two players inside the 50-metre line in East Fremantle's forward area. That's Hines and Lockyer. This is Mazurek, 45 metres from goal. Capewell in front, did that well. And Lester Smith helps him out. Capewell backed his judgment. He charged at the ball, kept his legs right behind it, and he was able to get it, keep it away from Dunstan. Throw in about 25 metres around from South's goal. Newman taps it down brilliantly to Browning. Peter Davidson under pressure towards centre half back. Souths have the numbers. Collins is just outside 50 metres, back into the pocket. Reid will be first to it. First times at this time, but the kick's a shocker. Another chance for South. Dunstan wanted to do too much. Clementi has it. He's in strife. South still in control of the ball. Collard to Hart. Hart's going to run into trouble. Edwards. Hand passes to no one in particular. Cliff Collard. South's under all sorts of pressure. Brad Collard back towards full forward. Reid is in front. It's with Edwards. Another chance for Matera. He overran it. Mazurek has run down. East Fremantle in numbers. They soccer it straight to Fimino. Terrific pressure out there at the moment, and Fimino gets the kick. Quill applied the tackle before he had the ball, in the opinion of the umpire. And Fimino will have the shot at goal, but that was terrific defence by East Fremantle. They really did apply intense pressure. Now Ned Fimino, the Bulldogs captain, will shoot from 55 metres. He will be aided by a southeasterly breeze, a strong breeze. They're still looking for their first goal, and it won't come from that kick. At the back of the pack, Nichols has it. It's Reid, I'm sorry. Reid across the top with a hand pass. Thump towards the boundary line. This is Nichols. Up towards half-back. Fimino is with Quill. And the ball goes out on the bounce. A perfectly placed kick.
A beautiful kick from Trent Nichols under pressure in the very last line of defence. A new forward set up for South Fremantle down there today, and so far hasn't paid dividends. Irving wins the tap. Nichols the rover. Not so good that time. Should have taken it with both hands. Tried to kick out of mid-air, and he's given South the advantage here. And once again, the South skipper to drive it into attack. Ned Fimino. Good-looking drop punt. Edwards sets. Browning there, so is Newman. Matera went without it. Coming in strongly, Crummell. Hand pass was smothered. Reid at close quarters to Nichols. Off the ground again. More advantageous this time for his side. Quill leads in the race and knocks it over the line. Fimino with him.
Well, East Fremantle's defence has been great, and you can see they're bottling up. They've got an extra player down there, and it's really making it hard for those free-flowing players and smaller players of South to get in, grab the ball and get out and kick those goals that we've seen them do.
Got the same pressure of an AFL game at the moment. Enormous pressure out there. Collard to Fimino, round his body. Williams interfered with. Reid spills the mark. Taken by Bilsich. Feeds Capewell. Hooks around his body. That was touched. South in the van. Fimino beautifully picked up on the half volley. Kick towards half forward from the side. Reid. Spectacular money. He's gone the other way.
He's paid them. Oh, that'll be interesting. Here we see it here on the replay.
Oh, right.
Well, throw it up, Wally.
Well, play on then, but
yeah, play
certainly
on.
Wasn't his mark.
If it wasn't the mark to Reid, it was play on. Now Dunstan's got it. Dunstan from 45 metres. South certainly
down behind play.
And Hepburn in the meantime swept his way into the clear.
Spinks was the one on the ground, but the bloke who was playing on him was Moss. He's been wearing him very close.
Actually, East Fremantle's matchups are a lot better, aren't they? Browning on Edwards is working okay at the moment. They've got Lester Smith on Dunstan, a little bit of pace to go with him.
Hepburn to shoot. Spinks is also wearing a nice shiner, I think. Hepburn kicks. Shocking kick. It'll come back a bit, but not enough. One behind to South. So they're still to bring up the major score, Wal, and we've been playing 12.5 minutes in this first quarter.
Hepburn's coming off by the looks. Sorry, not Hepburn. Spinks, he doesn't know where he is.
It's been a good start by East Fremantle. They're kicking into this, well, it's more than a breeze, it's a wind. This is Bilsich, and at the moment it's 1-3 to 2 points. East Fremantle lead. The kick towards the half-back line, the leaper was Quill. This is Malaxis. Malaxis kicks down towards the half-forward line. Atkins is there with Condon. Atkins was holding Condon. Play allowed to go on. Bilsich on the bottom of the pack. Now Condon on the bottom of the pack. It was Davidson, the first player, I'm sorry, not Bilsich. And we're going to have a bounce midway between left centre wing as Spinks comes off the ground and Campbell prepares to come on. Bounce down midway between left centre wing and left half forward for East Fremantle, and now a throw-in the same position. There's Jason Spinks, who...
Big groggy, Wal.
Was on the ground. I didn't see what happened, but it was well away from where the ball was. As Newman gets it to the side of the pack, knocked away by Cracker. Hart overruns it, taken by Irving. This is Matera towards the centre square, centre wing area, and Hepburn takes a good mark. Reid is the player opposing him. Hepburn just starting to get into the game a little bit now. Souths need these big fellas to fire. It goes down towards full forward. Browning going back with the ball, chose to punch it away. A little nervous at the moment, I think, Clinton Browning. In normal circumstances, he would have held that.
Well, both sides were caught out there because that was a real good kick of Hepburn's, and it kept going, Wally, and the wind must have got under it and kept it floating, and that's why they're all caught out of position.
Newman arrives to do battle with Edwards. This is at right full forward for South Fremantle. It's cleared away by East Fremantle, by Moss. They get it up towards the centre wing position. Fimino has it. He hooks back towards the half-forward line. It was Crummell, I'm sorry. And the mark now taken by Hepburn. Hepburn kicks in towards centre half-forward. Edwards on the end of it. Should mark that. Chance now for Clementi. Browning's after him. Clementi trying to hand pass to his own advantage, but the tackle lingered. And the free kick will go to Clementi. He's 55 metres from goal with the breeze at his back. Puts it back quickly towards full forward. Dunstan the leaper. Matera overruns it. Williams was taken high. The free kick is to Williams, 15 metres out from goal and directly in front. Williams trying to run through the pack. He went down on his knees. I don't think he ducked into it. Didn't appear to duck. He was falling, but that's all part of the deal. And so...
I wonder why he wouldn't pay the advantage there.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Had it been in defence, maybe he would have.
Yeah.
But this is young Williams, Russell Williams, with a chance to bring up South's first goal, and that really is a terrible miss. He's just 17 years of age, one of the first-year players in this team, and one of 14 country players in the South Fremantle 20 today. But he's got to do better than that. Doesn't matter how young he is or where he comes from.
Well, it doesn't matter what age you are. I guess you still know how to kick goals. But I suppose pressure on these younger players just felt a little bit there on Russell Williams, and he didn't take enough time to kick that goal with any purpose.
Well, Moss did well there to beat Campbell for that. He grubbers the kick, though, up to the wing. Cracker lets it bounce. Cliff Collard putting pressure on, and it runs it out of bounds. A few moments ago, we saw a gentleman doing almost a miraculous, eating a pie with no hands. 6 points the difference. East Fremantle lead into the breeze. The ball tied up. Bilsage pulled out of it. Matera looking for space. Cliff Collard hooks it up towards centre half forward. Reid, though, safe. Bradley Reid, forward of half back. Kicks through the wing. Big Irving up in front, pulls down a safe mark.
The fight on just off the ball. That's a good one too.
Clementi, Crummell, Nichols, the big pack of players out there. In the meantime, play goes on. Lester Smith feeds Reid. He kicks it out very wide. Bilsich is there, but it beats him over the line. Fight's broken up. A few jumpers.
Pretty willing to start
missing.
With Trevor.
It was. A bit of feeling here carried on from the reserves grand final. That was a vicious game. Going in hard there, Peter Davidson comes towards Reid. He was pulled out of it. Kicked upfield by the Sharks. Cracker in front of Cliff Collard. Hooks it upfield. Jeff Davidson. He's marked at half forward. Sharks on the move. A kick to centre half forward. Hines overruns it. First back is Atkins, though. Where can he go? He's gone straight for the half-back line. Grant is out there. With him is Condon. And together they force the boundary throw in. 6 points the difference. Sharks lead after 18 minutes of this first term.
Boundary throw in about 45 metres around from East Fremantle's goal. East Fremantle have done very well so far in this first term as Condon gets it to the front of the pack. Chance for Quill, who's been busy early without being all that effective. It's gone out of play almost in the same position.
Well, the reason why they've done so well is they've been able to tighten that, close that game right up, and they haven't allowed South to be able to use their handball, pace or anything like that. They've really played in at close quarters.
That's Malaxis on at ground level. Now Atkins gets it to Mazurek, to Cliff Collard. Short kick will find Collins. Was that out? Yes, it was. It was out of play on the full before he marked it. No question. The boundary umpire was right on the spot. Nichols with the kick. Or Anderson it was, I'm sorry. He kicks back towards full forward, and Condon takes the mark at the back. The umpire's whistle's gone.
He's played the push.
And has indicated that it was a push in the back against Atkins. He plays on quickly. And Hart clears down towards centre wing. Two East Fremantle players up. Newman knocks the ball away. Anderson quickly to Malaxis. Malaxis hooks it back towards full forward. Lock is unattended. He can go if he wants to, but chose not to. He's 25 metres out from goal and directly in front.
Well, some loose marking there by the South Fremantle defence. Bad play by South there. David Hines was a long way away from his man Lockyer.
It nearly happened in that previous passage too, Noel. Had Condon not infringed, we would have had the same situation as we've got now. But here's Lockyer from right in front. Oh, he's pushed it right. I think he's missed it. So bad mistakes being made in front of goal by both teams. East Fremantle moved to 1-4. Souths are 3 points. We've played nearly 20 minutes in the first quarter of the grand final, and as yet neither team able to assert any authority on this game.
Big match nerves. I wonder if they're playing a part in this first half of the first quarter. As again, Anderson kicks it out on the full this time. Jason Spinks is certainly feeling the effects of a hard facial blow in that first quarter. Grant boots it to half forward through the hands of Capewell. Lester Smith toe pokes at the Newman. Good hand pass, but Capewell turns into trouble. He's dispossessed and caught holding the ball.
That's 50 metres.
It should have been Wally.
Not paid, and Hepburn with the free kick. Spinks in trouble. Spiral torpedoes a beauty. Campbell carries the ball and bounces through for a goal.
70 metres, Wally.
Hepburn has registered a beauty. Souths put their first on the board, and you reckon it was 70 metres?
Well, he was 20 metres back from the 50-metre line, and that makes 70 metres to me.
Well, it does, yes. Even in Roman numerals.
But South will be relieved to kick that goal because that breeze is quite strong. It does fluctuate a little, and it is a little gusty, but they haven't used the breeze. But this game hasn't even settled down yet. We've got both sides testing out each other with their strength. I don't think some of the matchups are a little strange to some of the players, and that no one, as I said, neither side's got a break. Both have kicked a goal, and both have missed an easy goal each. So the odds are the game's fairly even as far as mistakes go at this stage.
Well, that really was a spectacular kick from Mark Hepburn. It was every bit of 70 metres, Noel, when we had a look at that replay. Malaxis goes off the ground, down towards full forward. Out comes Lockyer, collides with Hart. Irving is down there with Lockyer. Cracker's there to support him. The hand pass wasn't good enough. Cracker fights his way back into the contest. Off the ground by Cracker. The umpire letting play go at the moment. We're going to have a bounce at right full forward. Condon was the player on the bottom of the pack. There's Ken Judge. A little anxious at the moment, but his team has done quite well in this first term. Kicking into the wind, they lead by a point. Good knock down to Davidson. Just misses. Grant to bring it back into play. It's Malcolm Brown. He's been through it all before. Grant going straight down the centre of the ground, and he's got that into the centre square. Hepburn was up in front. It's taken by Condon back towards full forward, and Lockyer again. Irving's giving him too much latitude. They're comfortable marks. And Lockyer will have no trouble with the distance, albeit that he is kicking right into the teeth of this southeasterly wind. He is a powerful kick. He'll shoot from about 45 metres, and he's on a 45-degree angle, perhaps slightly tighter. He's just missed, as Quill did from a similar position.
I was going to say all the 45s there, Wally, because he's number 45.
Yes, correct. So now it's 1-5 East Fremantle. Souths are 1-3.
Tight ball game. Is Derby Grand Final.
1-6, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Well. Hines in the back pocket. Foot passes up along the half-back line. And Collins takes a diving mark just inside the field of play.
Well, it can't be a diving mark. The field umpire hasn't even blown his whistle yet, has he?
I think so. He's blown it again for Brad Collard. Brad Collard's backward of the right centre wing. Kicks to half forward. Hepburn sets. Reads with him. Put him under pressure. Off hands to Herneman. He's shirt-fronted by Amaranti. Williams dispossessed. Capewell found a way through that traffic. Kicks back to the middle. Collins is there, and he takes a spectacular mark. He's got feed on from David Hart. Hart's kick is 65 metres. Big pack up. Off hands through from behind. Gee, that was tight.
Herneman's being very brave at the moment, but he's hurt his shoulder or his chest. He was met very solidly. It was like he ran into a lamppost.
Amaranti.
You'll see him just off the side of the pack at the moment. There he is, just going through screen, and he's just holding his throat or his collarbone. I'm not sure what it is.
So they've been on the receiving end, South, in this first term, Noel?
Yes, they have, and East Fremantle have really picked off their mark, and they're out there with a purpose. I think South went out. Their game hasn't come together quite as well, and as I said before the game started, I thought East Fremantle have to close this game down, and that's what they've done so far. Now they've got to hold. If they've got a chance of winning this game, they must hold now.
This is Williams, one of the exciting young players in South. Hospital hand pass to Hines, dispossessed. Vilsic is there. Now Cracker, caught by Matera. Amirante. Collins, back to Hart. Hart has a look, sets it up for his forwards. Edwards got a lot of work to do. He's out of position. Reed spills a sitter through his hands. Clementi held. We're not in possession. Edwards again. Dunstan is there. Pushed out by the Sharks. Williams, hand pass to Clementi, dispossessed. Back it comes to Reed. Reed just toe pokes it. Picked up by Brad Collard. Looking for some space. Goes back to Matera. He hooks from the pocket. It's a good kick. It's a goal. A clever snap from the South Fremantle vice-captain.
Yes, a great goal there by Wally Mitchell. But, gee, I can't help but admire the defence of East Fremantle there. They were very, very solid. They're not giving the South Fremantle forwards any latitude at all. Now, this was very lucky.
Tight here, wasn't it?
It wasn't a real good kick from a clearing kick. He should have stuck the boot right under it and got it right out of that territory. But Wally Matera from 35 metres and was able to kick accurately. So very lucky South there. Maybe the defence of East Fremantle was a little poor.
South's in front for the first time at the time-on period, or the start of the time-on period in the first quarter. 2-4 to 1-6. They lead by 4 points. East Fremantle through Jeff Davidson, get it to half forward. Cracker knocks it to his own advantage, accidentally, down towards full forward. This is Lockyer. He's done well to claim the ball. Puts it out in front of Condon, who wasn't favoured by the bounce. Brad Collard is there. Billy Cracker is with him. This will be interesting. Two very clever players. Collard did best. Gets it to brother Cliff. Cliff shows a bit of skill. Gets around Jeff Davidson and finds Hart at centre half back. Hart's got to negotiate Peter Davidson. Kicks it out onto centre wing where Wally Matera takes the mark. Now Souths are starting to put their football together a little bit. Long kick to half forward. The target is Hepburn. It eludes him but stays in play. Reed used his body well. Capewell used his well. Reed went back towards the boundary line. He's penalised for a throw. Oh, heavens above. Seemed to me that he tried to knock the ball towards the boundary line. Let's have another look. Well, that's a clear strike of the ball.
Scroops in Disneyland.
Well, here goes Dunstan from the 50-metre line. That won't score. Edwards is at the back. It's off hands and through for the minor score. It's so dark here that you can see the flashlights quite clearly from cameras in the three-tiered stand.
You better buy the negatives, well.
1-6 East Fremantle, Souths 2-5. The kick in from Amirante is a good one. Bad effort by Davidson, Peter Davidson. Kicks up towards the half-back line. The only player there is Brad Collard. Gets around Crummell. In turn goes short and finds Hines.
The South have picked up their rating in the last 5 minutes. Hines sets it up. He's looking for a big marking player like Hepburn or Edwards. They're not there at the moment. Knocked away. Amirante's there. A lot of work to do. Clementi caught high. Well, the tackle did start off around about his shoulder, but it did creep up around his neck, as you'll see.
It was a fairly crude tackle there.
By Bradley Reed.
Could have done a lot better, Reed. Now we've seen him make 2 mistakes now, not kicking long out of that defensive pack a little while ago when Wally Matera snapped the goal. Now he's given away this free kick.
Clementi hasn't been in the game, Noel.
No, we've seen him make a couple of dashes, but he hasn't been able to pick up the ball just yet.
35 metres out. He's hooked it and missed.
Well, these kids
expensive misses by both teams in this first quarter.
I was going to say these kids are missing a lot, but then we had Andrew Lockyer miss the other end twice. So, I mean, this game is played at a lot of pressure, but I do feel that South might be starting to get a little bit of a roll on now. Some of their runners are starting to break away, and East Fremantle really need to tighten back up and tighten that game up as they had it before. 8
scoring shots to South, 7 to East Fremantle. It's 1 straight kick the difference in favour of the Bulldogs. Lester Smith in the back pocket, kicks to half-back. Hepburn's out there. Crummell rose high, but in front Hines pulls down a good strong mark.
Well, Hines has gone onto the ball, and Irving's gone back on Lockyer, Trevor.
The kick towards centre half forward, punched away from Edwards by Browning. Clementi roving the pack, hooks on goal, but he's way offline and out of bounds on the full. Free kick for the Sharks to be taken by Mark Amirante.
I'm just wondering, Noel, if we might see Ken Judge leave some players at the same end of the ground during the course of this game.
Well, they wouldn't be out of position, Wally.
Well, Lester Smith in particular might well stay up this end of the ground when they're kicking with the wind. This is Collard, and maybe Browning could too. is going to be a throw-in at right half forward for South. South's at 2-6-18. East Fremantle at 1-6-12. 30 minutes gone in the first term of the grand final. South's kicking with the win. Newman is there, opposed by Hepburn, who did best. Down to Dunstan. Dunstan gets it back to Mazurek. He's close to the line. That was well done. Matera has it. He was taken high. And the free kick will go to Wally Matera, about 55 metres from goal.
Sharks tackling's a bit reckless, Noel.
Yes, but they're having a crack at everything, and the umpires are picking everything up. They're not letting anything go, so they're being very technical at this stage.
Matera's kick won't score as the siren sounds. And at quarter time, Souths have been made to work very hard for that lead. They're 2-6. East Fremantle are 1-6. Souths had the advantage of a wind that was gusting to 30 knots at various stages. Now that's Capewell getting mixed up with Dunstan. Malcolm Brown's having a bit to say to Trevor Garrett. And the fight is still going on.
Well, what's Bilsich doing in the South Fremantle huddle?
Amarandi's in there also.
He's in the wrong spot.
Yeah, this is on.
What was that?
There's a spec. Oh no, Malcolm Brown.
That's Brownie.
That won't surprise anyone, I guess.
That's sensational, isn't it?
How can this happen?
That is sensational, but it should not be allowed to happen. I agree, Noel. These huddles are far too close together.
Well, they haven't formed yet. That's what shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Yeah. Well, they should be allowed to form properly. Here's the incident again.
Well, Cape will want to take things into his own hands. Now, he's in the South Fremantle huddle. Something's obviously been said. And then Bilsich wanted to go on with it. Now, he's been tagging Wally Matera, but he doesn't have to tag him at the quarter-time breaks.
Yeah, no, but that was an aside. That was going to sort itself out. Malcolm Brown got involved with the umpire, which is what led to the skirmish involving Malcolm Brown.
You're not going to contest.
Well, certainly the heat's on.
Big herbs up there.
And Malcolm Brown is certainly venting his feelings to his players. He would be fired up by that incident, and certainly some punches were thrown there.
Well, he doesn't.
No doubt about that.
He doesn't look as calm as he was before the game, Trevor.
No, because the Sharks have come out, and they, as you said, Noel, they've taken the game right up to the Bulldogs, and into the breeze. They've done very well to be within one straight kick.
Well, see, what's happened here, Trevor, their defence has been great, but they still haven't got that attacking power that we talked about before the game. They've converted one goal, and Lockyer should have kicked a couple of others maybe, but they still haven't been able to kick the goals. Now, in this second quarter, that's where it's going to count for East Fremantle, is whether the defence keeps as close as they have been in this first quarter, but they've got to get someone that can kick goals up the other end.
Some of the best players from both sides, Noel?
Yes, well, I thought that Quill opened up very well for East Fremantle, and he led his side. He's one of the more experienced younger players. I thought he played very well. So did Cracker. Around, down on the ground level, he was quite good. Malaxis has been busy across the centre, and I thought for South, Hepburn brought him back into the game in the second half of the quarter. He took 3 or 4 good marks and kicked that 70-metre goal, which was great. David Hart's been busy across the centre line and pushing the ball into the forward line, and I thought Wally Matera's been fairly good at ground level as well, but hasn't been a lot of players outstanding. I mean, 2 or 3 from each side have probably been their better players, but all players are working very hard and still sorting themselves out. I really think that they still haven't come to grips with the grand final yet. There's still lots of tests of strength going on.
Robbie West, the Sandover medalist, number 9. Jamie Wynn, the medalist's medal winner in the reserves, and the Prendergast medal, rather. The medalist medal winner is not there. Austin Kelly, the young junior, dogging around with Robbie and Jamie.
The umpire is telling Malcolm Brown that he's been reported. That's umpire Garrett. And Brown storms off the ground, and the umpire runs back to the centre square. And I really wonder, the umpires seem to think it's funny. I really wonder what effect that behaviour will have on Malcolm Brown's young team. I really think he has to keep the lid on this team.
I'll tell you where it'll have an effect, Wally. It'll have an effect in the decision umpires and the decisions they make. That's where really any line ball will go the other way.
Well, has this game got everything at the moment? It's really set it up for what could be an explosive second
and it's
quarter.
On in the crowd by the look of it.
Yeah, he's really under pressure, Malcolm Brown. He's been reported, as Wally mentioned. Tanya Armstrong, what's the feeling like down on the ground at the moment?
It's all happening down here. Very fired up Malcolm Brown going into that break. Ken Judge, very pleased with that quarter. He said we won the first quarter, we had them on the ropes, and we've got the breeze behind us this quarter, so let's go for it. Malcolm Brown said just keep up the pressure, don't relax, kick low into the forward line, and while they're kicking into the breeze, just keep punching from behind.
Thanks a lot, Tanya. fairly hectic down there as Robbie West, the Sandover medalist of 1992, completes his lap of honour, and that really has been rejuvenated, or has rejuvenated, the West Perth side, who finished last this year again, but this has certainly put some enthusiasm into the West Perth Football Club.
The umpire out now talking to Capewell and Dunstan, the emergency umpire. I just wonder if Brownie actually went to the right umpire.
You can never go to the right umpire, Wally.
Well, I think you've got to stay away from umpires because you finish off second best every time. Second quarter's underway. Bounce favours Hines. Tried to take clean possession. Did that and tried to give it to Collard. Socket forward though. Lester Smith is there. Punched away from him. Taken by Davidson. Jeff Davidson. He hooks across his body, but that'll bounce away from Lockyer.
A couple of significant changes there. South have opened up with as they did at finish in the first quarter at the end with Hines on the ball, and Wally was right. Lester Smith has stayed at the same end of the ground.
Very light rain falling, only a sprinkle. Irving brings it down. Cracker tried to go off the ground. Herneman to Irving at close quarters, and he clears out of the danger zone. Reid is there, fists away from Hepburn. Hines overruns it. Hepburn and Reid get tangled up, and that'll be a bounce almost on the crest there at right half forward for the Sharks, attacking the right-hand side of your screen with the breeze.
Souths lead by 6 points. Well, what a controversial first term. Mazurek gets it to Matera, who tried to crash through the pack. Hepburn gives it back to Matera. He went without it. This is Condon, who didn't have it. And the free kick will go the way of Condon at right centre wing for East Fremantle.
He let the umpire know well.
Well, this is going to be a crucial turn. There goes Condon with the spiral punt. He learnt quickly from Hepburn, gets it inside 50, and the mark taken by Herneman, whose courage has to be admired. He copped a very solid shirt front, perfectly fair from Amaranti in that first quarter. Got straight to his feet, albeit that he was the worse for wear, and has played on. Condon up high, and has got the kick. Now, I'm not sure what that was for.
Reid got the push.
Reid, I'm sorry, it is not Condon. The kick goes in towards centre half forward, and the mark is taken by Peter Davidson. He will kick from just outside 50 metres.
Now this will be a good measure of the breeze here, Wally, because he's not a long kick of the ball, Peter Davidson, because of those leg injuries he's had over his career. So with the help of that breeze, just on 50, we'll see how this breeze measures up.
Well, this is going to be the crucial quarter in this game, I suspect, because if East Fremantle can get some semblance of method in their forward play, those injuries have had an effect, haven't they? No, the kicks to Cracker. Hart has been penalised for a push. And the free kick is to Bill Cracker. Condon takes the ball off Hart, strips him of the ball, and Bill Cracker at left full forward with the customary licking of the hands, or putting the saliva in the palms of the hands just to improve the grip on the ball. He's a very skillful goal kicker on the run. Let's see what he does from here. An important turnover this. He's kicked the goal. And David Hart is having plenty to say to umpire Garrett now. Maybe that's an indication or an example of what Noel Carter alluded to at quarter time in regards to the umpiring.
Well, that's 2 goals. Both goals now for East Fremantle being kicked by Bill Cracker. And we'll see the incident there. It looks from the picture that there might have been something in it. How much, it's hard to tell from that shot, but as I said before, the umpires have got long memories. They're about as solid as steel traps, umpires' memories.
Interesting knock from Newman there, down to Bilsich, who thumps the Sharks into attack. Fisted away there by Herneman. Malaxis overruns it, tried to soccer it. Matera beats Bilsich. Hand pass to Hines. Over the top, that's a suicide hand pass. Looking for Collins. He's under pressure now. He's got courage there at ground level. Back comes Hines. Sockers, and mark has been taken by Hepburn in front of Reid.
South not handling the ball very well at this stage, Trevor.
Hepburn into the breeze. Drop punt. Looking for Edwards. With him is Browning. Edwards too good. He's marked at centre half forward. I think he'd be too far out to score. He's about 55 out. He's gone for the foot pass, and Collard floating down the ground marks the ball and shows it to Browning. Said, there it is. It's red. And there's red in the eyes of a few of these players at the moment. There was red in his eyes at quarter time. Another foot pass. Too far there for the South Fremantle forward, Dunstan. And Browning at the back mops up. And with a good vision finds Davidson. Jeff Davidson to Capewell. Dunstan in pursuit. The kick to half-back. Lands in front of Lester Smith. Can he keep it in play? He's foxing for a free kick out there, still finessing, and he finally earns one well.
Took him a while, didn't he? But he got it. Neil Lester Smith, who started in defence and now finds himself in attack. Scores 2 goals, 6 apiece.
You be the judge.
There goes Lester Smith's kick towards half-forward. Newman is the target. He knocks it on, but straight to Atkins. Atkins from half-back for Souths. Kicks back towards centre half-forward. Hepburn is the target. Reed is with him. To the side of the pack. Herneman appeared to be held, and he gets the free kick. Herneman is between centre wing and half-forward. He kicks inside 50 metres. Browning is there with Edwards. Play allowed to go on. Campbell back to the open goal. That's a sitter. And Warren Campbell gets his first goal in the grand final. Souths responding to the challenge. They moved at 3-6. East Fremantle at 2-6.
Well, I think you'll really find that Craig Edwards did earn a free kick there. The umpire was completely out of position and didn't see that, but we saw it from the box here. But Campbell ran onto the ball. We've seen him kick a lot of goals this season. He had the option. He could have handballed to Wally Matera, who was in the square, but he chose to go for goal himself and kicked a good goal. And as I said, we've seen him do that, read the play so well. But I still think that South aren't tuned in enough. East Fremantle, to me, are still tuned in a lot better than South, and maybe that's come around a little bit by the upsetting quarter-time break that they did have.
Hines wins the tap. Chance for Mazurek. Solid bump from Capewell. Brad Collard toe poked it away though. Now he feeds Dunstan, who's on the run. He kicks from forward of the circle. Edwards lumbers out. Browning's with him. Not a great deal of pace there, but Browning wins it. Craig Edwards is pointing to something. I don't think they'd run out of sight down Greenmount in the fog, those two, but they got big hearts. There they are, Browning and Edwards. And from the back, big fist there from Crummell. Back to the boundary. Cliff Collard can't keep it in play. South in front by one straight kick. Supporters well rugged up. It's pretty cold, only about 14 degrees in Perth today. Again, it's Browning and Edwards. Edwards knocks it back of the pack. Knocked away there by Moss. Malaxos at ground level. Scrambled a kick, but stolen by Williams. He runs away from Crummell. Thank you very much. Hand pass to Cliff Collard, who bangs it through for South Fremantle's score. Now they lead by 2 straight kicks, and we've been playing 7 minutes in this second quarter, and into the breeze, which incidentally has dropped a bit. South really have lifted their tempo.
They have lifted their tempo a little, and we saw here some good work in the forward line. Young Williams will run onto this very, very quickly. We know what sort of pace he's got, and here he ran away from, had a bounce, didn't. And we seen him miss a goal early, decided not to take it himself, laid the ball off very unselfishly. And Cliff Collard, who's drifted down into that forward line, was able to kick that goal.
Jason Spink's still on the bench, and don't forget, he was the key in the second semi-final when he kicked 5 goals out of South's 11, and there were only 19 kicked in the game. So it's a real blow for them to have him off the ground, but they're doing well at the moment. Bill Cracker, 1 turn too many. Nichols, who's not handling the ball at all well.
That's a great chase by Marty Atkins, 6'4", chasing Billy Cracker, 5'8", and you know what a will or wispy is. He was able to get hold of him, so that's a good chase. That's South's defence starting to tighten up a little.
Hurriedly forward by Bilsich. Chance here for Lester Smith. Takes the mark. Herneman was unsighted. He didn't know which way he was kicking. Lockyer takes the mark.
Herneman went and stood on the mark, and Lester Smith just ran on.
I think he thought Lester Smith was going to kick the other way.
I think he did, you know.
I think he forgot which way Souths were kicking. He just let him run on, thinking that he was going to... Yes.
Lester Smith thought, well, this is a good opportunity.
Well, Lockyer is shooting from about 30 metres out. Oh, he's made hard work of it, but he's got the goal. And didn't East Fremantle need that? They're 3-6. Souths are 4-6. Ashley Flugie warming up. And this quarter, I was about to say earlier, Noel, is crucial, because if East Fremantle can't muster something with the wind, then they're really going to open the game up for Souths.
Yes. Well, you see there on the replay, Herneman did slip after Lester Smith. Now, he could have had a shot, but Irving had done the right thing and went to him, tried to attack him, but he left Lockyer, and Lester Smith was clever enough to shoot it over Lockyer, who did kick his goal this time after missing 2 in that first quarter. But both sides are starting to break away a little bit now. The football's starting to open up, and we might see some spectacular stuff for the rest of this quarter.
Hines and Newman. Hines wins the tap. Nichols, Bilsich, Malaxis. Put under pressure there by Brad Collard, but again Nichols comes back, pulled off the kick. They've worked it up to half forward. Atkins is in the way though, got a hand pass out. Matera leading Bilsich in the race to the boundary. The boundary line looms up. 1 goal in it, South Fremantle in front. Excited football crowd here. At least 30,000, I would say, Walt.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be close to 30.
Condon, toe pokes it, but straight to Atkins, who spins, but Quill held him in a firm grip. Collard run down by Condon. Lester Smith's got the crumbs, found a bit of space, but chipping into the open space as Grant must have been touched. He lays it off to Atkins, and Atkins clears the zone momentarily. Reid and Hepburn. Reid's got to get a kick. He should have got a kick. In go the Sharks through Bilsich. It's booted out of the defence by Amirante, but he's kicked it out on the full, and the free kick to David Hines.
Newman comes across to stand the mark. Hines is at left half back. South's a 4-6. East Fremantle a 3-6. 10 minutes gone in the second quarter, and he's kicked it straight out of bounds. Bilsich with the kick. That gives you an idea of how strong that southeasterly wind is. Bilsich from right centre wing for East Fremantle puts that close to the boundary line. Newman up at the back. Should have marked that, but recovers well. No, loses it. Firmino, well tackled by Newman. Knocked away by Condon. Quill has it. He's just outside 50 metres, out in front of Lockyer. With him is Irving. Lockyer in front, pushed over by Irving, who soccers it away from the big fella and puts it out of play on the opposite side of the ground.
Well, the football in this game hasn't been as pretty as we've seen in the other finals so far, Wally. I think, as I said, East Fremantle are holding themselves together. They still haven't let, or South haven't been able to break away from it at this stage.
Chance for Firmino, pulled off his kick. Nichols met solidly by Dunstan. Goes down towards full forward. Atkins misses it. There's no one in the square. Davidson's kick will go close. It's just missed. That's Jeff Davidson. That's Ken Judge.
Condon very unlucky not to be given a free kick there, Walt.
Do you get the message?
He's certainly laying down some law. So Grant puts it back into play. Newman fisted away by Hines through the hands of Capewell. Quill, who's doing a good job. Back to Malaxis. Touched. Cracker. No, it wasn't touched off the boot. Cracker's got the mark inside centre half forward, about 45 metres out from goal. He's already booted 2. And a good chance for number 3 here from that distance.
He's causing some problems for David Hart, isn't he?
He is.
Not getting a lot of kicks, but...
Not only hasn't David Hart been able to influence over Cracker, but also he was looking all right pushing the ball in long, but they haven't been able to get that penetrating drive from David Hart.
Bit of boot trouble for Bill Cracker.
It's also, who's been quiet and been one of their dominant players, has been Mark Collins across the wing. They haven't had the normal drive they get from him. Yeah. So Anderson's done a good job at shutting him down.
So Cracker finally has rectified the shoeing problems and lines up. 45 metres out. Almost directly in front. Drop punt on the way. He's pushed it right across, and one behind just scraped in for that.
Well, with the balance of the south side that they've got now, they've got Cliff Collard in a forward pocket now. He's a state back pocket player, so that's how South have got their side lined up with David Hart following Cracker.
Grant puts it back into play. Target out there. Irving juggles it, not paid. Hand passes inboard, was a loose one. Lester Smith got a hand to it. Collard's there. Malaxis with enormous courage. They're going in hard. Bilsich scrambles a kick up forward, and this will bounce over the line and out of bounds. About 10 metres around from the behind post. In the right full forward pocket, the Sharks on the attack. They need a goal here. 30 minutes of the quarter gone. Lockyer and Hines lock hands. Condon clean possession. Firmino got a hand to it. Another boundary throw in right alongside the behind post.
31,500 people here this afternoon for this grand final. So it certainly captured the imagination of the football public in WA as Condon goes up over the top. First to it will be Brad Collard. Gets the hand pass away to Dunstan. Dunstan's hemmed in the back pocket. Firmino takes the hand pass. It goes back to Collard. He kicks around the outer side of the ground looking for Williams. It was Amirante who chopped it off, and Malaxis who kicks back towards full forward, and Lockyer again coming out in front of his opponent. This time Hines has taken the mark on his chest once again. Lockyer, a very difficult kick this one. Right on the boundary line. The breeze will blow it back towards the goal. It's a pretty good effort, but I don't think it's quite good enough. No, it's just missed. It's the unofficial attendance, 31,500.
Lockyer has kicked 1 goal, 3, Wally, so far.
Out of East Fremantle's total of 3-9, Souths have kicked 4-6. It's interesting to look at South Fremantle's last 2 grand finals. They've lost both of them. In 1989, they lost to Claremont when they managed only 5 goals. And in 1981, they lost to Claremont when they kicked 12-24. So here they are today with 4-6 on the board.
In the second quarter of that game, we kicked 6 goals, 12, I think.
6-12 and a quarter, yeah, well. 12-24 for the game. But here we are, midway through the second term. Souths are 4-6, East Fremantle are 3-9. Chance for Atkins to tidy up. He got an unfortunate bounce, and Grant puts it out quite deliberately, but not seen by the umpire. Or perhaps the umpire felt that he wasn't in a good enough position to judge. The throw-in is about 35 metres around from East Fremantle's goal. Condon up over the top, takes the kick at goal. It's a good kick too, but it's not quite good enough. Lester Smith is after it. It stayed in. Herneman takes him. That was a good tackle. And the boundary umpire indicates it's out of play. Well, Lester Smith did the right thing. He chased back hard, but Herneman just went straight for him and applied a very solid tackle. Hines and Condon and Atkins over the top. Herneman not favoured by the bounce. Left Lester Smith. Malaxis. It comes to Pilsich, and he's missed.
How could he miss from there?
Well, both sides are really messing up good opportunities here. That was an opportunist goal. Pilsich wasn't good enough to finish it off, but as I said, both sides have missed good opportunities, and that's a bad miss going with this breeze.
Nothing in this game, as you can see. Grant puts it back into play. Irving's the target. Fimino's there, but Malaxis chipping in takes a very good mark. He was certainly beaten for height, but he did very well. Lockyer's in front. Quill from the back. Not paid. Hart. Herneman straight for the boundary. Puts it out in the full.
Good pressure from Lester Smith, Trev.
Yeah, excellent pressure by
Davidson plays on quickly. Goes for goal. There's nobody in the square, and it hits the behind post.
Gee, look, the players not even giving us commentators time to settle down. Trevor?
It's a very ordinary standard game at the moment, isn't it?
It's a hard-fought game, a lot of pressure in it. Atkins, Condon wins the tap. Lockyer, tackled by Matera, dispossessed. And the umpire's seen it as a free kick to be taken by the Bulldogs. Ed Fimino, the skipper. Flugie warming up. Fimino kicks this straight to Davidson.
Well, he was able for Hepburn, but the breeze just pulled it up, and none of the South players have woken up yet that the ball is dropping short.
And Davidson will put this right up on the goal square. He set it up. Target is Condon or Lester Smith. Carries all players. It was touched. And one behind.
You see the tricks that the wind's playing there.
It certainly is.
A big gust came along as that ball was travelling in the air, and it picked it up and moved it sideways by about 10 metres.
Some very heavy clouds away to the east. I wouldn't be surprised to see some rain in the second half of this match, you know.
It's a remarkable weather pattern, as we commented, to think that you can get such a threatening sky from the east.
Now, Paul Mazarek is hurt. We see him cop a bad knock early in the quarter. Now he's tagging Nichols, and they haven't taken him off, but he's moving very, very gingerly. You can see he can't even follow through with his kick.
Lockyer went one-handed. It was meant for Atkins. Lockyer into the back of Collins, but the boundary umpire...
He's coming off, Noel.
Is going to throw it in, yeah. You've picked him up, Noel. He's in a spot of bother, and Flugie will be his replacement.
Boundary thrown at right half forward for East Fremantle. Anderson gets it to Bilsich from 55 metres. That'll come back. Hit the post. Now that's amazing. That ball hardly moved, and Noel quite correctly called Davidson's kick as moving about 10 metres left to right just a couple of minutes ago, and that one just drifted back. There was no definite movement at all. Let's have another look. There you see it just coming in gently and hits the post. Had it been Davidson's kick, or had the wind been as strong as when Davidson kicked, it would have been a goal for sure. The ball is still at just in the East Fremantle full forward line as Flugie just on the ground, clears it to the outer side of the ground. Irving takes the mark and plays on down towards centre wing. It hasn't been this far up the ground for some time. Reid gets the hand pass wide to Nichols. He's claimed by Williams. The ball comes free. Chance for Souths. Capewell goes in, ferrets it out the back. Nichols off the ground. The umpire's whistle's gone. Play on is the call, and everyone has stopped. Coming out to meet it is Lockyer. He gives it to Condon. He couldn't handle it. Herneman loses it. Lester Smith didn't have it. Atkins has it. It's back towards full forward for East Fremantle. Atkins under pressure gets it towards the boundary line, and Hines takes the mark. Well, this game is a comedy of errors.
And Atkins has definitely got no left foot. He kicked that back with a check side kick.
Well, players don't know. They're not handling the ball well themselves. They're not sure when to play on, when not to. The umpires are calling play on when players have stopped. It really is degenerating to farcical proportions at the moment as Irving kicks back towards centre wing. Amirante knocks it wide. Straight through a player's legs out there. I think that was Bilsich. Capewell's kick comes off the side of the boot. Flukey's off after it, and we'll have a throw in. Let's start again.
I think it'll be a little bit unkind, Wal. It's a pressure game out there at the moment.
Terrible
mistakes are being made because of the pressure.
Well, what about Cracker's shot on goal or Bilsich's snap?
Yeah, can happen. Nichols breaks away, flat punt, through centre half forward, beaten Hines. Atkins tried to soccer. Lockyer can't get a hand pass and he tunnel balls it back. Herneman's over it, squirts out towards Atkins. Back it goes to Grant. He goes with a hand pass to Firmino. Firmino run down by Quill. Good football. Put him under pressure. Forced the error. Lawrence and Trelevin looking on from the East Fremantle dugout.
Well, they've got a couple of fresh men there, East Fremantle, and South have used both their reserves.
Hines wins the tap, goes straight back to the boundary. Gained about 5 or 6 metres for his side. So 22 minutes gone in the second term. Scores a level. Tremendous crowd responding to this Port Derby. Hines from behind. Condon tried to bring it down to Cracker. Hart got a hand in there. Capewell dispossessed by Brad Collard. Comes to Quill. He hooks towards the square. Lockie has a chance here. He's in front of Atkins. He's going to have a kick back into play. He's gone back about 25 to 30 metres and found Malaxis.
He's gone back 40 metres,
well,
Trev. He was on the boundary line.
Well, the ball couldn't be in a better set of hands, though, than Steve Malaxis.
Yeah, it wasn't such a bad decision, I don't think, but he did go back a long way.
He's going to kick from 40 metres. Steve Malaxis, the veteran, the skipper, kicks straight. The Sharks are in front by one straight kick. The first goal was Steve Malaxis today. And so that goal being set up by Andrew Lockyer with some quick thinking there in the forward line.
Yeah, it was a good play to open up the goal face there. Malaxis unchecked, was able to have a comfortable shot from goal from about 35 metres out and had no trouble putting it through. But East Fremantle have kicked 6 behinds this quarter, probably wasted a couple of opportunities, but so did South in the first quarter. So still fairly even, 6 points the difference, but both the back line of South's really under pressure now.
An aggregate of 8 goals so far in the game, and we've played nearly 2 quarters as Souths race it out of the centre. That's Dunstan trying to kick into the wind, puts it up in front of Campbell, who chose not to take it first up. That was a good decision. He chips it into full forward, but Amirante got back brilliantly. That was good defensive work. Just when it looked as though Craig Edwards was going to swallow it.
He'd been camped there for 10 or 12 seconds, and it was good play by Amirante to get down there and take that ball away.
The kick needed to be a little bit higher because Edwards had a decided height advantage. But well done by Amirante as Hepburn takes clean possession and runs straight into a double whammy. That was tag team wrestling. Bounce down will take place about 12 or 13 metres out from South's goal. Hasn't been down there for a long time. Clementi has it close to the goal line. He gets it back to the top of the square with a good kick. Browning, the ball bounces away. Collard over the top of Amirante. Browning was legged, surely. The free kick is going East Fremantle's way. Browning being held when he didn't have it, the umpire indicating. That was Collard over the top, and here it is. And Browning gets the ball down towards the centre square, and the mark is taken there by Condon.
Been useful, hasn't he?
Yes, he's worked pretty hard so far in the game. He goes for distance again. He gets it inside 50 metres. Lockyer was missed by Dunstan. Chance for Cracker. Herneman, I'm sorry, it was who missed it. Cracker took too long, was run down by Clementi. Chance for South now. They've got the numbers. Flukey and Herneman got mixed up, and Herneman takes it out. Throwing it right half forward. Souths are 4-6, East Fremantle are 4-12, almost time on at the time on point of the second term. Newman arrives late. Irving in front down to Collard, taken by Firmino. Fremantle trying to draw a player. He's kicked the ball high in the air. It won't quite reach the centre line. Collins collides with a teammate. Gives Amirante a chance. In comes Williams, not able to break away. Flugie gets it wide to Fremantle. South's looking a little better now. Hepburn the target. Reid just standing off him. Got there in the nick of time. Reid recovers well. Oh, Hepburn persistent. And he's penalised for holding the ball, Reid. I don't know that he ever had a firm grip on him, but he certainly was persistent, Mark Hepburn, and he's got the kick.
Hepburn, drop punt towards full forward. Target is Edwards. Fisted away by Browning. He's done a good job down there, Clint Browning. Malaxis and Brad Collard. Collard with skill. Gets away from Reid. Not a good kick. Ill-directed. And it lands with Amirante. He's got back up from Crummell, who kicks into the middle of the ground. Condon's got a foot race on with Atkins. Atkins the first to arrive. Knocks it out in front. Was he tripped? Not according to the umpire. Is he holding the ball? No. Newman. Davidson from forward of the circle. Kick towards Lockyer. Lockyer in front. Fisted away by Hines. Into the path of Hart. He's caught and run down by Lockyer. It's being held to him, says the umpire. Been a quiet player, David Hart.
Been very quiet, but I can't help be impressed by the way that East Fremantle have tackled and bottled this side up. They haven't given them 1 inch and any breathing space whatsoever.
They lead by 1 straight kick, the Sharks. They've had 16 scoring shots to 10. Cracker kicks towards the top of the square. Lockyer. Too good for Hines.
Hart's injured. Looks like a 5.
David Hart, well?
Yes. Yes, at centre half back for Souths.
It was a beautiful kick from Cracker, and Lockyer was able to outmanoeuvre Hines and kick the goal. He's kicked 2 goals now for the game. Missed a couple of easy ones from the other end. But from close range there, that was almost a gimme. Andrew Lockyer has now increased the margin to 2 goals for the Sharks.
Well, we mentioned what a good job East Fremantle defence was doing in the first quarter, and it was up to the forwards in the second quarter when they had the breeze to make something of it. They've kicked 4 goals, and Andrew Lockyer's kicked 2 of those, and he's been a good focal point. He's been, you know, last time they played, they had Browning up there, and he didn't work as well, but Lockyer's worked very hard, and he's had the stick over both David Hines and Dean Irving back in that position. So a good move by Judge, and Lockyer giving some confidence up in the forward line for the East Fremantle smaller men to drive the ball too.
The margin is out to 12 points now as Souths are penalised for a throw, and the free kick will go to Malaxis. He's about 5 or 6 metres behind the centre line. East Fremantle running out of time. Their first use with the breeze in this game. They lead 5-12 to 4-6. The ball to half forward. Davidson. He'll go for distance. The ball floating back towards the goal line. He's got it. He used the breeze effectively that time. And now East Fremantle starting to put a bit of distance between themselves and Souths on the scoreboard. They moved to 6-12. Souths at 4-6.
They kicked the last 4 goals, Noel.
Yes, well, that's the breeze is very strong, and they're working very hard, and they got good results there from being able to win that ball out of the centre and move it down quickly. We haven't seen 2 goals kicked so quickly during the match, and I think that's significant. You call David Hart being injured. South are not getting the drive from around the ground. Even in contests around the ground, they're not getting the players around that play that they normally would. And the East Fremantle players are more prepared to run and be over there and make the 2s and 3s round the ball.
Cliff Collard's gone on to Cracker, Trevor, and Hart is going up to the other end of the ground.
Interesting moves from Malcolm Brown. This is Flugie, but the free kick is to be taken by Irving. Irving, good-looking drop punt towards full forward. Browning sets himself and pulls down a good one. Been a handy player in defence so far, Clint Browning. Proving the versatility of this East Fremantle side. Kick through the centre circle. Davidson steals it away from Collard. Hand pass, Quill hooks it around his body. Beautiful kick for Nichols. Well weighted, good vision.
Great vision there by Peter Quill.
And the things he's done today, Quill, have been very classy. Nichols has been quiet, but he's got a chance to make the position for South Fremantle a bit awkward here before half-time. They lead by 18 points, the Sharks. Nichols has kicked, he's hooked it. Has he snicked it in? No. Touched the post. Went very close. David Hart in the doldrums a bit at the moment.
He's in more than the doldrums, Trevor. I think you'll find that he has got a leg injury.
Cliff Collard to put this back into play. Plenty of leads. He ignores most of the short ones. Goes longer. Target is Irving. Newman is with him. Crumbs to Malaxis, who went without it. Spoiled a bit by Bilsic, his teammate. Newman, hand pass to Wade. Bilsic thumps it back towards the square. Condon in the pack. Leaper was Hines. Player being held. And the free kick going to the Bulldogs will be taken by Herneman as the coach takes a well-earned drink.
He's looking a little more relaxed at the moment as Davidson comes across, misses the mark. Irving gave a good contest. Hines, this is Malaxis. Hand pass chopped off by Firmino, sweeps it out wide. Chance now for Souths, but they took too long. Capewell does well. He gets it to Quill. Quill pushed off his kick. Cracker runs onto it, back through traffic. Looks to centre half forward. Brilliant vision by Bill Cracker. They missed an opportunity a few moments ago to pick him out at the top of the goal square, but he fought back very, very well then to gain possession and find Jeff Davidson about 40 metres from goal. Now this might well be the last scoring opportunity. It will be for either team. It's 6-13 to 4-6. A goal here would be crucial. He'll kick from just on 50 metres. He's got the distance, but it lacks the necessary direction. So a let-off for Souths after the half-time siren. East Fremantle moved to 6 goals, 14-50. Souths are 4-6-30. The margin at half-time in the grand final is 20 points.
Goal scorers for both sides, well?
Firstly for East Fremantle, Trevor, 2 each to Bill Cracker and Andrew Lockyer, 1 each to Malaxis and Davidson. The goal scorers for Souths, 4 players have kicked 1 each. They're Matera, Campbell, Collard and Hepburn, with Spinks, their best goal kicker so far in the finals, off the ground.
Thanks a lot, Wally Foreman, and the stage is set for what should be a very exciting second half here in this derby. South Fremantle, Noel, I suppose you would have been thinking a lot of things would happen naturally, but the Sharks, full credit to them, they've applied the pressure from the first bounce, and now the Bulldogs have got a lot of work to do in the second half.
Well, in football, Trevor, things don't happen naturally. You've got to go out there and make it happen. I think that's what East Fremantle have done. They've gone out there, they've closed the game right up, and they've been the ones that have been the trendsetters today, and they've played the game how they wanted to play. It's been scraggy, and you've called it in the call that it has been scraggy and a bit tough, and that's just how East Fremantle have designed the game today, and it's been played all they've dictated terms.
Thank you, Noel Carter. So here at half-time, it's the Sharks who lead by 20 points, and we're going to see plenty of activity here at half-time with some foot racing and what have you. It certainly has been an exciting first half of football, a tight, hard-fought contest between South and East Fremantle. Between the two port sides, South Fremantle and East Fremantle, the Sharks in front by 20 points. They lead 6-14 to 4-6. That's twice as many scoring shots, Noel. And the Sharks certainly have taken the game right up to the Bulldogs, who went into this game 9-4 on favourites.
Well, they've had twice as many shots because they've had twice as much of the play, I think, Trevor. Even in the first quarter when they were kicking against the Breeze, they did a good job because their back line tightened it right up. And I said at quarter time, if their forwards could now convert and do something, well, they're in with a good show. And here at half time, they've got a 20-point lead and they're looking quite strong.
Well, and they came out hitting hard too. South Fremantle with Jason Spinks off the ground. Herneman was hurt for a little while in that first quarter, and Hart also you've mentioned in a bit of bother.
And Mazurek.
So they've been hit hard, and the Sharks, who told me yesterday they had a few tricks up their sleeve, but have they fired all their cannons at this stage?
Well, I think they've played most of them, but everyone that they've played has worked. But the strong part about the East Fremantle game has been the way they've been able to get in and tie it up and haven't allowed South to make any breaks. Just there in a 5-minute break, the South did look like they were going to run away. East Fremantle reeled them back in and they tightened it back up again. And we've seen players on the East Fremantle side like Anderson, who hasn't had a touch himself, but he's completely shut out Collins on that wing. And they've had no significance in the play whatsoever. And other players have done real good jobs. It's been hard to find good players for South Fremantle because all their good players have been shut right down, and the East Fremantle defence, they're obviously very disciplined and they've carried out their instructions to the T.
Well, Browning's done a good job on Edwards too, hasn't he, Noel? And when you start to look around now at who can kick a winning score for them, with those injuries that you referred to, Spinks in particular off the ground. He kicked 5 of their 11 in the second semi-final. We've mentioned that fact. Mazurek is injured. David Hart is carrying a leg. You look at that situation and you look at the fact that Collins has been tagged out of the game, as you mentioned. Edwards has been well held by Browning. It really is going to take a remarkable turnaround on South's part now to be able to pull this game out of the fire.
Well, it's going to have to come from some of the lesser lights. You're going to see kids, 17-year-old like Russell Williams is going to have to come in and kick goals. Flugie, who's not a consistent goal kicker but can kick a good goal. He's got to get on the end of the ball. Clementi, those type of players. Now, you can't expect those players to swing a game, so some direction has to come from the more experienced players as well. But let's not take anything away from the defence of... I thought Capel's done a fantastic job on Dunstan. And players like that, lesser players, have really lifted, and the South guys, the ability they got, they only had to drop a small fraction, and East Fremantle lift their rating a little bit, and you can see what's happened. It's even the game right out.
The thing for South Fremantle too, Noel, they must do it in this quarter with the breeze. If they don't do it in this term, they really are in bother.
Well, I can't see the breeze changing at all, Trevor, so it's do or die for them this quarter. And East Fremantle had a hard game last week. Maybe if South can get some runs on the board and have East Fremantle chasing them home after that hard game last week, might take its toll. But I'm sure the determination and, any side that gets to grand final has got to have a reasonable amount of fitness and must absorb that sort of contest anyway. So
the mental attitude of East Fremantle in this game compared to other games you've seen them in this year is quite amazing, isn't it? In games against South Fremantle, they've got a tougher mental approach. Well,
a tougher mental approach, and I've seen a lot of discipline today, or the results of a lot of discipline. They've obviously thought this right through, and they have, as I said, stuck to their instructions to the T.
The idea of bringing Michael Tuck over during the week, a football legend in the AFL with 426 games, do you think that's paid dividends and perhaps it's just finished off the polish that Ken Judge has put on them over the last 2 weeks?
Well, I don't know who'd get the biggest kick out of that, Ken Judge or the players, because Judgey playing with a legend like that. But oh, sure, I mean, but you still, whether it's Ken Judge, Michael Tuck, or whoever, it's still, these players out there have still got it inside them, and that's where it's coming from, inside these players out there. And sure, that would have helped to have someone of, to have someone of that stature in and around the club at such a final time. Such an important time as finals, but you can't beat being out there in the grand final. If that doesn't tune you up and being preparing for a grand final, if you're never going to be tuned up, you're never ever going to have any excitement in life.
Well, it was interesting to see Paul Mazurek come off the ground then. He's limping quite profoundly, and he's gone into the dugout. I doubt that we'll see him again. I'm just looking to see if Spinks is back out
David
there.
Hart's on the oval.
Yeah, but Spinks isn't, and he didn't even go out for the warm-up.
We've just been told the temperature is 12.4 degrees and a slight rain falling, so that gives you some idea of just how cold it is here. Condon puts the Sharks into attack, coming out to meet it. Lockyer loses his footing. Irving's there to push it away into the path of Collard, who reads it well, gives it to Flugie. Flugie runs away from Nichols, kicks towards centre-half forward. Hepburn bounced off his ankle, out towards half forward. He's got a foot race on out there now with Amaranti. Hepburn also loses his footing, but Amaranti was into his back, according to umpire Scroop. So a free kick to the big fellow.
Hart was struggling then too, Trevor, limping away with the ball there.
Hepburn with the breeze, could go close. He kicked a 70-metre goal earlier.
Well, I'd say kick it over the fence from there, Trevor, judging from that last kick.
He's on the other side of the ground this time, though. That could make a bit of difference.
Might make it go further, Trevor. He's right, the wind's right behind him.
Drop punt's on the way. It's straight, it's good, and it's through. It's a great kick from Hepburn. And I'd say out of all the South Fremantle players, he has been the clear winner at this point.
Well, he has. He's given them something to kick to, but they haven't been able to get the ball down there on a lot of occasions. But when they have, he's given them a good contest, and you can see the benefit of him being a great kick. I was a little out there. It did bounce before it went over the fence, Wally.
Well, that was a drop punt, that one. The other one was a spiral punt, so that was a very long kick too.
A good kick.
Terrific. Well, Souths get the first goal of the third quarter, and they needed to. They're 5-6. East Fremantle is 6-14. The margin now back to 14 points as Dunstan takes the relieving mark at half-back. Souths need to move the ball on quickly. Good kick down towards Hepburn again. Should be a free kick. He was claimed over the shoulder. Williams got the ball to Matera, but he's dispossessed. The hand pass wide of the pack. Another chance this time for Collard. Collard chips it to the half-forward line, and Wally Matera takes the mark. So Souths have come out full of running. Hepburn is calling for the ball on the outer side, but Matera's ignored that. Now he chips it into centre-half forward, and they ignored Hepburn. He was cruising down that outer flank. They had him covered at that stage, and then he ran back into a huge gap. There's the successful Souths coach from the reserves, Paul Vasoli, leaning on the wall, alongside Malcolm Brown, who...
Well, not only would he be given that wall stability, he might be giving Brownie some stability as well, Wally.
He just joined us. The reserves premiership won in extra time. As Hepburn doesn't get onto this one, it lands short, comes off hands, and goes through from behind. Well, perhaps he tried to kick that too hard.
Well, he dropped the ball very awkwardly. In windy conditions like that, you must follow the ball. The hand must follow the ball right to the boot, or the wind will blow it away, and that's what it did on that occasion.
Well, I think that is the point that needs to be made in favour of the players in this game. I made comments in the first half that I didn't think it was a particularly high-standard grand final, but this wind is very strong and very blustery, and obviously that would have a big effect when people are kicking, particularly at goal, but even trying to get the ball onto the boot, or when they're pinned up against the boundary line.
Well, I'll tell you one player, even though he made a mistake on that occasion, Brad Collard, but he's really lifted his ratings and really lifted South just at the start of this quarter.
A few players, including Collard, wearing some battle scars on their face. But it's Quill with the football, as we mentioned, classy in the first half. What he did was good. Atkins will fly from behind. He doesn't fly, in fact. He lets his teammate Hines do the work, and he marks in front of Condon. Hines, good foot pass. Firmino's taken the mark, short of right half forward. This looks more like South Fremantle that we know at the moment. The kick towards half forward, Browning in front of Edwards, double fist that over the boundary. And he's another one who's had the better of his marksman. He runs back straight through Wally Matera. Wally looks back and thought, what was that?
Interesting enough, East Fremantle have gone with Lester Smith again as a loose man in defence. An ploy that worked well for him in the first quarter.
Milsich marking Matera, Edwards and Newman. Newman wins it, Matera sharks it, caught. Hand pass away, Clementi, clever. Kicks towards full forward, knocked away by Lester Smith. Matera runs onto it, hooks, but doesn't bring it back at all.
He missed with everything, including the kick.
And a free kick to the Sharks. Browning to take it in the last line of defence. 13 points the difference in favour of East Fremantle. Sharks have kicked the first goal since the break.
Bad play.
Crummell and Clementi battle close to the line. Matera kept it in, was cleverly done. And that's a beautiful hook back towards the square. Hart's there, he'll be outnumbered. And Browning takes a safe relieving mark. David Hart was like David and Goliath there.
The tempo of this game has increased. I think both teams realise that it's really up for grabs now. It was a low-scoring game, even though East Fremantle led by 20 points at half-time. It was such a low-scoring game that Souths was still in it. Now, they've still got a lot of work to do. They trailed 6-14 to 5-7. It's a margin of 13 points as East Fremantle work it out towards the half-back line. Atkins is there for Souths. Bulldozes the ball back towards the pocket. It's too hot for Williams. We haven't seen a lot of some of these younger players so far. And they're going to have to come to the party now because Souths have got some injury woes. Very cold conditions here at Subiaco Oval this afternoon. More like Melbourne football weather, a maximum of 12 degrees. Sorry, not a maximum. The temperature at the moment is 12 degrees. As the kick goes to the outer wing, Capewell can't get to it in time, and it's a free kick to Souths. The ball out on the full. Dunstan runs it back towards the centre. Kicks to centre half forward. Hepburn is the target. Reid is in front, and Hepburn is just too tall.
He's causing him some problems now, Wally.
Now, we have to say that this is well within Mark Hepburn's kicking distance. He's kicked a goal from about 70 metres out, another one from 55 metres out.
Intelligent use of the body too, little gentle
The long
nudge.
goal was from the right half forward flank. The shorter of the two was from the left half forward flank, and here he is in the true centre half forward position. He's got onto it, and he has kicked it perfectly. He's got his third. He's becoming a very telling factor in this game as Souths get their Sixth. They're 6-7. East Fremantle are 6-14.
Well, the good thing about it, for South's point of view anyway, is Hepburn is starting to give them somewhere to kick and a focal point attack, and they're not afraid to use him. You saw Dunstan there play on and directed that play straight towards Hepburn, and all the South centre line and halfbacks are looking for Hepburn now, so we've certainly brought the crowd to a line.
The Bulldogs' house, and the South Fremantle supporters getting behind their team now as they sense a big fight back here. Firmino kicks it into attack again. Hart is there. With him is Peter Davidson, who wins the day, kicks it out very wide and finds the boundary line. David Hart is limping noticeably.
He's at about 40%, Trevor. He couldn't even chase Peter Davison down with a decent tackle then because his leg's hurting, obviously.
Quill went for that tap. Vilsic kicks it upfield. Davidson and Grant tracked the ball to the boundary. An attendant out there saw them coming and was heading for cover. Crowd are right into this match. And it's been a tough affair so far. Flashes of brilliance. Malaxis ran into a brick wall. Grant fires it upfield. Matera gets it around Vilsic to Hines. Almost run down by Davidson. Lester Smith got a hand to that. Williams emerges. Grant Pollard runs onto it. Running away from his opponent. Hooks it around his body. Campbell can't quite get there. With him is Moss. They run to the boundary. Campbell runs it out. Young supporter, fresh-faced and enjoying it.
Happy to see you, Trevor, obviously.
Yes, I think she was. Hepburn this time using his body against Reid on the ball. Matera overruns it. Clementi knocks it away from Lester Smith. Out comes Browning. Finds Vilsic. He's wide with his hand
affordable.
Browning was met solidly, but he's tough.
Have a look at this. Have a look at this.
Oh, no.
It wasn't as bad as it looked, I don't think. There was a bit of malice in it, I think. Or let me say, malice was a forethought.
Didn't worry Clint. Newman, Edwards ran into a brick wall. Vilsic at ground level. Trapped. The ball being held to him. 6-7 now, South. They trail the Sharks, who are 6-14 by 7 points.
No, I think Wally Matera and Clinton Browning are going to have to be very careful. They've both had a go at one another, and it'll get a bit out of hand.
Do you think honours are even, Wally?
Well, I think they're about even now, yeah. There's no doubt that Browning gave Wally Matera the first one. Hart back there with Jeff Davidson. Quill, sharked by Williams, lost control of it. Lester Smith towards the boundary line, and East Fremantle stand up for yet another onslaught, another thrust.
They're defending stoutly there. Lester Smith's doing his job very well, and they're just bottling this play up, switching from side to side, but they don't care. They just want to run the clock down.
They're under siege back there at the moment, and if East Fremantle can weather this third quarter storm, the premiership is set up for them. But Herneman has kicked a great goal, and the margin now is just 1 point. Herneman's first, South 7th. They're 7-7, 49. East Fremantle are 6-14-50. Souths with their final use of the breeze, and we're 10 minutes into the third quarter.
You see Herneman sell the dummy there, go back onto his right foot and kick. Quite a good goal at the end. We saw this young boy take a hard knock early in the game, and he's come back quite well, and that's certainly lifted this crowd here, and we've really got a game on our hands now, Trevor.
Yes, and it's Hepburn who's been the motivator. Newman wins that out of the middle, though. Kicks to half forward. Capewell leads in the race. Dunstan in hot pursuit. Capewell got a good bounce. Hand passes to his own advantage, but can't keep it in at the finish. But it's been Hepburn with his marking, his kicking, and his ruck work that has set this up for South here.
Yeah, it's been 10 minutes of real good play by Hepburn.
Condon and Hines doing battle. Condon wins the tap. Flukey's there. Hand passes it out. Herneman again. Couldn't get a hand pass in then. This is Condon who's run into trouble. Play on, says the umpire. Firmino caught. Ball jars out. Lester Smith tries to break away and does so. Intelligent hand pass. Nichols fumble. Gets around Atkins. Goes for the foot pass and finds Quill.
And Cracker's loose.
Quill can see him loose, but he's going to ignore it.
He's still loose.
Quill might fancy his chances here. He's a fair way out, 50 metres. He could still get it to Cracker if he wants to. He's going to do that, yes, finally, and it'll come off.
That all came about because Malaxis moved up to make his presence felt, pulled one man away and left Cracker by himself. It was well worked out, Wally.
pretty slow to counteract it.
So Cracker with the chance for his third here. Sharks lead by a point. Cracker's kick on goal, won't reach. Up they go, no mark to Davidson. In goes Dunstan, caught by Capewell. Herneman pushes towards the boundary and finds it. So again, there's plenty of pressure on down there, Noel.
Yes, well, it's been the same right through the game, Trevor, and it hasn't changed with 12 minutes into this third quarter.
Condon and Irving. Condon could have got a kick there. In fact, he will. That was pretty ordinary from Irving. He was beaten for the front spot and he didn't like it.
It was a bit crude.
He's dished out one. Condon from 25 metres, 45-degree angle. We're right behind the kick. We've played a serviceable game. And he's kicked it and split the middle. It's the Sharks by 7 points. That's his first. We've played 13 minutes in the third term.
Well, that's a good goal for East Fremantle into this breeze. South had some steam up. They kicked 3 goals in that first 12 minutes, and for East Fremantle to come back and answer with that goal, that'll give them a little bit of steadying room. But it was a bad mistake there by Dean Irving to give away the free kick in the first place. So he'll be looking to redeem himself and get this ball out of the centre for South on this occasion.
Well, East Fremantle had been scoreless so far in this third term up until that free kick. Souths in the same time had kicked 3-1. Chance for Nichols, dispossessed by Irving, and he drives the ball to centre-half forward. Lester Smith stands in front of the pack. That's 50 metres. Oh, heavens above, that wasn't necessary. The umpire speaking to Edwards.
He's reported him.
Has he?
He said, "You're on report." I've taken a lesson in lip reading. Yeah. You're on report, he said.
He's on report.
Well done, Noel. Hey, not just a pretty face, Noel Carter.
And 50 metres. And Craig's indicating he hit him with the palms of his hands. We'll probably get another jumper produced at the tribunal.
That didn't work.
Well, Souths didn't need that either. Souths need to keep their composure here as Lester Smith breaks to the opposite side of the ground, sorry, to the members' side of the ground. Collard up in front. Chance now for Atkins, and with him was Condon. And together they force it out of play. The throw-in is at left half forward for East Fremantle. East Fremantle responding to the early challenge thrown down by Souths in this second half. 14 minutes gone now in the third quarter as Newman takes clean possession. That's Femino. Brad Collard needed 2 grabs, and that gave East Fremantle a chance to close. It's to half forward and Davidson. This is Bilsich. 55 metres. There's no one in the square. The bounce is crucial. It bounces to the right.
The luck of the bounce can play a vital part when the game is as tight as this. I admired the way Lester Smith got up too and got on with it, as he received a very heavy knock from Edwards, and here he is again. Feeds the hand pass out to Jeff Davidson, tackled by Herneman. We're not in possession, but the boundary throw-in will take place. Crowd well rugged up, icy conditions.
The emergency umpire's also spoken to Edwards, Trevor.
Newman over the top, wins the tap. Frugi wins it at ground level. Rove the pack brilliantly. Femino run down, charge down, and gets the free kick. You see what for, Noel?
Yes, over the shoulder.
Right. The kick to the middle of the ground. Hepburn sets, so does Crummell. No mark taken. That's brilliantly done by Matera. Caught, though, at the last moment by Capewell. It booted upfield by Hepburn, 65 metres, and the mark taken by Moss in defence.
The East Fremantle interchange players come out of the dugout for the first time.
Browning kicks it upfield, lands with Williams. He couldn't control it. The umpire's paid it. Well, that's a bit lucky, I thought.
I think he anticipated it, Trevor.
Well, it was in and out a couple of times before he spilled it, so maybe he anticipated the second out.
It certainly jumped up for here pretty quickly. Williams will put this in the square if he doesn't kick it. It's a beautiful kick. It's slightly offline, though. Bit of pushing and shoving there going on. One behind the result. Sharks are 50. East Fremantle 57. Capewell's off.
John Lawrence.
And Lawrence is on. The mystery man who wasn't going to play is on for the first time today. Well, there he is, 15.
With him is Dunstan, as Browning prepares to bring the ball into play. He looks to the members' side of the ground. The lead has been offered out here by Moss. The big leaper was Clementi. And Vilsic goes to the line.
So he's going to get away with that.
So the throw-in front of a very vocal South Fremantle crowd is at right half forward for Souths. Irving comes in and opposes Newman. Went through Fluge's hands, was taken by Nichols. Lands with Firmino. He drives the ball back towards full forward. Browning gets in front of Edwards. It comes to the front of the pack and Amirandi. This is Moss who was caught. And the missed kick lands with Fluge.
Would have been just the distance too, wouldn't it?
It would have too. Now Fluge will have to kick from just outside 50 metres. It'll take a good kick, particularly for one of his size. But with this wind favouring this end of the ground, he could well get it. It's coming back. Hasn't quite got the carry. It's out of play now. It's 7:15 to 7-8. East Fremantle lead by 7 points. And we've played 17 minutes in the third quarter. Souths haven't done enough yet. They looked as though they were going to take all before them in this third term. Here's Campbell. What can he do? That's a good kick, but Lester Smith has camped back there in the last line of defence. So East Fremantle still standing up stoutly to the South Fremantle challenge. The kick is ill-directed, gives Collins a chance. He took Browning on and ran out of play.
He's had a dark day, Collins.
The throw-in will be at left full forward for Souths, about 35 metres around from their behind post, their left-hand behind post. Hepburn is there. Newman was up over the top. East Fremantle with the numbers. Oh, Amirandi off the ground. I think he pulled the kick, in fairness. And we're going to have a bounce down on South's 50-metre line. Let's have another look. I don't know if he did.
He just missed, Wally.
Yeah,
kicking in danger for
saw
mine.
that blue sock in there. Hepburn knocks it back inside 50 metres. Reid knocks it outside. Reid with another chance. Malaxis. Short kick and Collins misses what he would normally have taken, but he's under immense pressure out there from Anderson. This is Dunstan. Souths need another goal. They need a couple quickly. He gets it back towards full forward. Good kick. Browning up over the top. Edwards was outnumbered 2-1 as he has been for most of the day. And it's out of play at full forward again. It's been a tough afternoon for Craig Edwards. He's goalless at this stage.
Yes, Big Craig certainly finding the pressure of this grand final. He wins that tap though, brings it back. Amirandi was there, pushes it out. A chance here for the Sharks. Crummell tracks it to the boundary, but he can't keep it in play. With him is Ashley Fluge. One would expect the Bulldogs to put a few more on the board before three-quarter time.
Well, you expect that, and if you're a South supporter, you'd be hoping that, but this East Fremantle defence is really holding out well.
Newman wins the tap. Williams feeds Matera. He beats one. That was Quill. He hooks it across his body. Edwards wrestling with Browning. This time Edwards at the free kick.
Well, Browning was indicating he was holding lead, but I think in frustration, Browning shrugged off Craig Edwards, and the umpires pinged him for that.
Somebody's been holding Craig at some stage of the day because his WAFL tag has been loosened.
I think
it's flapping in the breeze.
They might have a cut in the head too. Either that or he's had his hair dyed.
He's 25 metres out directly in front. He drops it on the boot. He's hooked it. He's missed it. Sando the medalist can't believe it. He's had such a good year, second half of the year, in front of goals.
We've found with Craig Edwards, if he's on his day, he has a good day, and when he's off, he's really off, Trevor.
Well, Browning's had a good day on him, and he finds Vilsic with the kick back into play. The Sharks, nobody stood the mark then. Vilsic made about 10 metres. He was looking for Quill, but a clever mark has been taken by Clementi. Here it is again.
Yeah, that's a good mark, that. Floating across in front of Quill.
Edwards in the pack, fisted away by Browning, taken by Crummell, who feeds Lester Smith. He gets around Firmino, looks for the open spaces. He's really booted it into open territory there on the members' side of the ground. Found the boundary line. 6 points the difference. It's been one straight kick many times today. It's still in favour of the Sharks.
She's played very well this quarter, Lester Smith. That was a great kick to touch then, Wally.
Well, I was just about to say it hasn't been pretty football from East Fremantle, but it's been very well-disciplined football. They've gone to the boundary whenever they've had to. There's Firmino driving the ball back to half forward for Souths. Reid, oh gee, left himself open. He showed a lot of courage.
Oh, David Hart stolen it.
Hart, there's no one in the square.
But kick it with his leg.
He's in a lot of trouble, David Hart, and that has aggravated the injury, I think.
Well, I think he's the best of the wounded Brown he's got in the dugout. You see, he would have been odds on to kick that in a normal game, but he just couldn't. His bad leg couldn't hold his weight up, and that's why he's crumbled.
Browning kicks the ball in short and finds Anderson. Collins coming back to mark him now. Hart in the hands of the trainers in the pocket. East Fremantle run it out of defence through Peter Davidson. He gets it to Moss. Moss is just behind the centre line, kicks the ball hard into the wind, and Jeff Davidson takes the mark. East Fremantle could be rewarded for their doer defence. It goes towards full forward. First back to it will be Condon. Off after him is Hines. Condon keeps his footing. Plays it back brilliantly. Lockyer has it. Lawrence is loose in the square, and Lockyer ignores him. The ball has stayed in play. That will give Grant the chance to tidy up, but he's brilliantly tackled out there by Jeff Davidson, and Hart is going off on a stretcher.
And Hines hurt himself when he tackled Lockyer then, Trevor.
Well, this is a cruel blow, not only for Souths, but perhaps for the Eagles and David Hart.
They must stop the play while this stretches here.
Yes, and the umpire, the second umpire, has made umpire Garrett aware of that, and David Hart really has obviously suffered a very serious injury.
Well, maybe he's hurt because he had that crook, that thigh might have been a bit suspect. I'd say he's put more pressure on his other leg, and he could have hurt a knee or a groin or anything. You see the agony that David Hart's in.
The season's over for that man.
Well, that's a real blow, and it's a blow for the Eagles. Gee, the controversy about who was available and who wasn't available, isn't it ironic? And he's going straight off.
Isn't it ironic that it could bring Scotty Waters into the Eagles team next week?
And Mazurek limps back onto the ground.
Well, he's only on half a leg.
So they've got real problems, South, as the throw-in takes place. That's Irving, who is being held, comes to Amaranti, ball held to him, and we're going to have a bounce down about 35 metres out from the East Fremantle goal.
Well, the other ironic thing that's happening today is we saw Mal Brown have something to say about Lockyer's concussion. Maybe that's why Spinks can't come back on the ground, because he has been concussed.
No risk. I was about to say the same thing, Noel. Working hard, Dunstan there, fires a hand pass up in the air. Malaxis knocks it away from Williams. Sharked again by Flugie to Collard. Feeds Grant out wide, who knocks it away from Bilsich. Then loses his footing. This gives Bilsich a run of the ball. He hooks around the boundary and Malaxis can't mark. He should have.
One of the few mistakes he's made today, Trevor.
He was happy he didn't mark it. I wonder if South have done enough in this quarter, you know. The Sharks really will turn for home in the box seat in this match. Lawrence had it and lost it. Condon in over the top and gave away the kick. The big fellow lumbered right over the top of Flugie. South Fremantle Streamers are a bit limp at the moment. They trail by 5 points. They've had the breeze. And they've got a Herculean performance ahead of them now as we go into time on in this third quarter.
Oh, Crummell dropped his head.
He didn't want to know, really, did he? Firmino. Crummell stole the hand pass. Kicks to full forward. Condon and Lockyer almost got tangled up. Lawrence dispossessed. Comes to Atkins. Dunstan, the hand pass was too slick. Off hands, it comes to Cracker. He hooks towards full forward. Davidson knocked it away. South should mop up as Grant finally gets a kick in and kicks towards the members' flank. Malaxis with courage. And in the way, Clementi. Clementi looks, cornered, hooks around his body. Hepburn's there with Reed. It carries both players. At the back, Campbell. Campbell, the best to recovery, was held. Advantage paid. He goes for the foot pass for Edwards. Browning again. Collins can't keep it in.
That ball was out.
Boundary umpire was on the spot. Great piece of football there on the boundary as Capewell and Treleaven watched from the dugout. It was too.
Throwing it right half forward, that's Moss. Moss tying it up and again eventually getting it towards the boundary. Throw in just outside the 50-metre line. Well, we're into time on in the third quarter. Souths need goals desperately. This is their last use of the breeze. Hepburn and Newman. Newman did best. It's taken by Williams. He's 45 metres out. That's a better kick. Will that be an infringement against Edwards? No. Browning was pushed in the chest, but the ball was obviously within distance. That's the first to Williams, and suddenly it's on again.
We'll see Hepburn working very hard again, and Russell Williams on his left foot. He's a clever little player. We've seen him miss a goal early in the first quarter, but he's made amends now, and maybe that'll give the youngster a little bit of confidence, as it would have done Warren Campbell, because he pushed that ball into that forward line in that last bit of play. So we've got a couple of the younger players lifting for South. Now can some of the older blokes get behind them?
Well, it certainly is on for young and old as Matera tries to escape, but he's robbed of the football. And again, Fremantle, this time he steals it and boots it up the full forward, but Crummell standing firm. Should that have been a free kick to Clint Browning? That is a question that will be around for a while. Edwards pushed him fair in the chest as the ball was heading for the goal. Davidson misses the mark. Peter Davidson. Lester Smith gets a hand pass in. Jeff Davidson runs it out.
Spinks is up off the bench, walking around the boundary line with a dressing gown on.
He certainly doesn't look too well, does he, Spinks?
Well, he doesn't, but they might need him. I mean, if he can stand up, he might be better than some of the guys if they're laying out flat across the ground.
Herneman was tackled too high then, and rightly so, receives the free kick. Three times. He felt the pressure. You can see the collar on his jumper.
Well, he's been a tough competitor today. Him and Hepburn, I thought, been two of South's better players.
Off the side of the boot, Hepburn a chance, nudged underneath it by Lester Smith, and Reid clears it out of the danger zone momentarily. Nichols and Dunstan. Dunstan with tremendous pace and ability, dodging and diving, hooks around his body. Williams misses the mark. Quill runs into trouble. Good pick up for Tira. Feeds the hand pass to Dunstan, who sells the dummy around Lawrence. Kicks towards full forward. Browning at the back.
Oh, he was off. He was off.
He did too.
It's too much agility for Craig Edwards. Craig just can't take the corners with that. You wouldn't know what's under that knee bandage, but it wouldn't be all that good, I don't think.
But gee, played on then, and Clementi got him. That's all there was to it. As Nichols kicks up towards half forward, Cracker misses the mark. Collard judges it well. Kicks in short and finds Matera. Souths have got to mount an attack here. They've got to get at least one more goal before the three-quarter time siren. Goes back to half forward. Campbell off the back. Gets it to Flugie. Flugie's got no one to give it to, so he goes for home himself and puts it through. That's his first. Souths get their ninth. They're 9-10. East Fremantle is 7-15. And now Souths have a lead they can defend, albeit a very small one.
Well, it is a lead, and it's been it's come about through perseverance there. You see the South players have had to play on. Now, it might have been a mistake there by this Fremantle defence. Two players went for the ball. Campbell was clever enough to shark the crumbs and give it to Flugie, who kicked a good running goal. But South have hit the front, and it's at least they've got a lead they can defend, as you called, Wally.
Newman beat serving for the tap. Chance for Malaxis. East Fremantle win it out of the middle. The kick is out wide. Cracker's there. Gets away from Collard, but allows it for Lawrence. Lawrence kicks it upfield, and Lockyer takes a slips catch.
Well, that was a missed kick from Lawrence, and very fortunate for East Fremantle, but Lockyer out in front was able to take the mark.
There's three-quarter time. The siren is sounded for three-quarter time. Lockyer to shoot. As we saw the siren go at the end of the second quarter, Davidson missed a goal. Now could Lockyer put one through? I don't think he has. No, he's missed it. So at three-quarter time, it's South 9-10-64. The Sharks are 7-16-58. 6 points to difference. We're about to be joined by our Metropolitan viewers. Welcome to our viewers in the metropolitan area to the League Grand Final between South Fremantle and East Fremantle. The first time these sides have met since 1959, when almost 53,000 saw the game. Well, today more than 30,000, in fact just over 31,000 here at Subiaco Oval, and we've witnessed a great grand final to three-quarter time. It's been close, hard fought in some trying conditions with a very stiff southeasterly breeze and very cold here at Subiaco Oval, as obviously you people in the metropolitan area would realise, and both sides really have given a full 100%. It's South 9-10-64, leading East Fremantle 7-16-58 by a margin of 6 points. And how many times today have we seen one straight kick the difference between these two sides? We've seen controversy, incidents during the game. We think Malcolm Brown's on report for an incident that he was involved in the quarter-time huddle when he got mixed up with a player. And we've certainly seen some very exciting passages of football and some great defence by both sides. With me in commentary, as always, Wally Foreman and Noel Carter. Tanya Armstrong is our on-ground reporter. Wally, what about the goal kickers to three-quarter time?
Yes, firstly for South Fremantle, Trevor, Hepburn has kicked 3, and we've seen 3 terrific goals from him. One every bit of 70 metres, the other 2 from outside 50 metres, and he is the leading goal scorer in the game so far. The rest have all been kicked by separate players or different players. Matera has 1, Campbell 1, Williams 1, Herneman 1, Cliff Collard 1, and Flugie 1. The goal scorers for East Fremantle, 2 to Lockyer and 2 to Bill Cracker, and 1 each to Malaxis, Davidson and Condon. It's interesting to note that Souths had their final use of a very strong southeasterly wind in that third quarter. And quarter by quarter, at quarter time, after kicking with the wind in the first term, Souths led by 6 points, as they do now. At half-time, East Fremantle led by 20 points. And as I mentioned, and as Trevor has mentioned, back to 6 points in South's favour at three-quarter time. So if the trend continues, East Fremantle appear to be in a very strong position.
Noel Carter, it's been a game of fluctuating fortunes throughout the day, but South showed real character in that third term. But as Wally mentioned then, they've really got their backs to the wall in this last quarter.
Well, they have got their backs to the wall. They're down to 17 men, and we've got Jason Spinks off the ground. We've got David Hart off the ground hurt, and Mazarek's gone back on, but he's very much injured. And you'll see this incident here. This is where David Hart got hurt. He's already got a crook leg, and he couldn't put all his weight on that leg to kick with, and he's even hurt it ever so much more. So David Hart won't take any more part in this game. But what we've had here is an East Fremantle side very, very disciplined and very, very desperate, and they've bottled this game right up, closed South players, closed South runners right out of the game, and been able to kick those goals themselves. We said how good East Fremantle's defence has been. It's been great, and we were wondering whether, if they could hold out against the Breeze, whether with the Breeze they could do something with it. In the second quarter they did. So that once again here in this quarter they've got to do it again. And we've seen some spiteful incidents. This is the quarter time incident that evolved, and Mel Brown ended up getting involved with it. And you can see him there having a word to the umpire. As
we believe he's on report for that.
But things did go on after that, and I think Mel did get tangled up with the East Fremantle player. But we can't take anything away from the East Fremantle players. They have really, really worked this game out, and they've stuck to all the plans that Ken Judge has obviously laid. So we're in for a pretty tough last quarter. South are going to have to play a lot better. They're defending a 6-point lead, and I'd say that Breeze is worth every bit of 4 or 5 goals.
Comments there from Noel Carter. Tanya Armstrong, what were the thoughts of the coaches there at three-quarter time?
Both very intense, as you can imagine, in that going to the last quarter of a grand final. Ken Judge emphasised there's 1 quarter of football to play for the year. He said the odds are stacked against us, but if ever the gods are going to smile on us, it's going to be today. He said forget about the Breeze, that's not going to help us, and every time you get the ball, kick long into the forward line. Malcolm Brown told his players to run their socks off. He said they've only got 1 more quarter to play, and he says if they come through, it will be one of the best victories in West Australian football history. And David Hart off the ground with a groin injury, a recurrence of an earlier injury.
Thanks a lot, Tanya. South Fremantle lead here by 6 points, but it's the Sharks who come home with the Breeze. You're watching live league football on ABC television to start this last term with the crowd chanting. Here's Wally Foreman.
Big crowd, and a very vocal crowd as Newman does battle with Irving. It's socket forward for East Fremantle to half forward. Lawrence, who started on the interchange bench with a run of the ball, was overrun by Grant but not by Brad Collard. Chance now for South to clear as Herneman kicks around the boundary line. Matera's hand pass has gone astray. Lester Smith gets it to Lawrence, back towards full forward, and Condon takes the mark. Condon is 35 metres out from goal. He'll kick from about 45.
Good mark.
He had best position, and he had a decided height advantage over Cliff Collard. He's on a reasonably acute angle, but the Breeze is blowing from his left to right. Spinks is up off the bench, walking around the boundary line. As Condon lines up for the kick, that would have tied the scores, but it's gone, didn't have the distance. Another chance for Lockyer with brute strength. He tries to wrestle the ball out of the pack, and it's gone over the goal line for a minor score. East Fremantle looking for their first premiership since 1985 when they were successful under Ron Alexander. Souths haven't won the flag since 1980 when they were successful under Malcolm Brown, their current coach. The ball to the outer side of the ground and a mark awarded to Quill.
Peter Quill.
Well, here we see, once again, the umpire's paid the man in front, and he did pay that earlier on in the game. And there was a little bit of a dispute about it, Trevor, but...
We've mentioned to our regional viewers, he's done some good things at times today, Peter Quill. He's a beautiful exponent of the drop punt. He sets it up into the square. Grant at the back, can't mark. Hines feeds the hand pass into the pocket. Lester Smith dangerous, he's slung. And Miranda kicks it out of bounds on the full. It was touched, luckily for him. They're enjoying the game. Freezing cold day here at Subiaco Oval.
They would have remembered the 45 Derby Grand Final, I think, Trev.
So do you. Lockyer's caught. Herneman overruns it. Lawrence and Herneman wrestle for it. Condon's there. Got a kick into that. Puts it to the top of the square. Dunstan knocks it forward into the path of Lockyer. He's held. No free kick. Ooh. Atkins pushes it out. Atkins again off the ground. And it lands with Firmino fortuitously. And he goes on with a hand pass over the top to Flutie, who can't control it. He keeps it in now, though, Walt.
Fortunately for him and for Souths, it would have been a bad mistake. The kick to centre wing. Hepburn was the target. Williams has the ball. Puts it out in front of Malaxis and Clementi. Hepburn's injured now. Oh, that will be a serious blow to Souths. They are sadly depleted already. Let's see. Oh, ran right into Crummel's hip. Williams' kick is a shocker. That makes life difficult for Campbell. He keeps the ball in front of him. He did well. Puts it out of play. Moss was with him. Where's Hepburn? Is he up?
He's okay, I think, Walt. It's sore.
Well, he had a huge third quarter, Mark Hepburn, particularly in front of goals. Contests the throw in. Clementi with pace. Drives towards goal. It won't be a goal. Browning is there with Edwards. It's been a tough day for Craig Edwards. He's on report. Jumping into Lester Smith's back after he'd taken a mark. And as yet, he hasn't kicked a goal.
And Browning's done an excellent job there in the last line of defence.
One of the many changes that Ken Judge sprang on Souths at the start of the game. The full forward going to full back. Edwards has the ball pulled off his boot by Newman. As we said earlier in the game, what a success story Ian Newman's been this season. Pluck from country football. And he's been the mainstay of the East Fremantle ruck throughout. Browning is up, thumps it towards the boundary line. Souths come from everywhere. It's scooped towards the line. Firmino is there for Souths. He's pulled off the ball. Nichols with a hurried kick. Chopped off by Hepburn. He in turn was claimed by Amarante. Irving swept it back towards the centre line, and Nichols gets it over the line as Spence warms up and is about to come back into the game for the first time since when, the first quarter, was it?
Halfway through the first quarter.
Yeah.
This is a big gamble because he doesn't look all that special to me.
Very wobbly indeed. Irving earns the front spot there, but he had to work hard in front of Condon. And he's earned the free kick, Dean Irving. We saw Irving give away a kick to Condon in front of goals in the third term.
Well, it's wounded for wounded anyway with South.
That's a good mark too to Hines in a pack of Sharks. Cliff Collard drifting down the ground, receives the hand pass. He's looking for Campbell. Campbell's there in front, brings the ball to the ground. Worried out of it by Moss, though. Coming through again is Hepburn. Now it's Campbell, overruns it. Socket forward by Hepburn. Malaxos, great courage, Steve Malaxos. He's caught high, and he'll take the free kick for the Sharks.
He's been in the thick of everything today, Trevor. His work rate's been that high. He's been a real inspiration to his team.
He kicks to the members' wing. East Fremantle will mark through Newman.
That'll be his first mark for the game, I think, if I remember right.
He's done most of his work in the ruck and won a lot of taps, though. Wobbly kick to centre-half forward. Davidson in front. Knocked away by Grant. Pushed out by Collard. Fumble there by South Fremantle. Cracker slid into that high tackle. Might be a bit lucky. He slid right into this. He's got the kick, 60 metres out. Torpedoes a beauty. It won't reach. Desperate lunge there by Condon. and out of bounds. Cracker. A couple of goals to his credit today. South hanging on here.
They lead by 5 points. 7 minutes gone in the final quarter. Hines tried to knock it away. Matera's in there. Condon has it. Lockyer. This is Davidson. Jeff Davidson to Nichols. Nichols back on goal. It's pretty close. Couldn't see the goal umpire's right arm then. I wasn't sure if he'd signalled a goal or a behind.
Only one went up, Bob.
It's a behind. 4 points is the margin. I was just thinking, you know, Steve Malaxis may well have played against Warren Campbell's father.
He would have done. I think Steve was playing in 1980.
Yeah. So this is Ian Newman. Now East Fremantle starting to launch perhaps the first serious challenge to South's lead.
I'd suggest that Ian Newman would nearly kick this, nearly score from there. He's a very good kick.
Well, Hepburn's kicked goals from further out than that. He's got under it. It will land at the top of the square. The leaper in front was Condon. Souths try and tie it up at the top of the square. It comes to Amirante. There's the goal that puts East Fremantle in front. East Fremantle are 8-18. Souths are 9-10. 8 minutes gone in the final term.
Well, Emirante's been a backman most of the day and most of his career. But here he's drifted down with his own players. South were trying to tie it up. They didn't want to let it go out till they had somewhere positive to go. Finally they got rid of it, only to Amirante, and he was able to snap a good goal, much to the desperation of the South defence, who two players claimed they touched it, but they're the rules. That's what you try and do when you're a defender. But South are really looking down the gun barrel at this stage.
Irving and Newman go at it. Irving brings it down. Firmino tackle and dumped by Condon. Ball jars out. Vilsic and Quill. Vilsic lets it go for Quill, who hooks up towards full forward. Lockyer leads Atkins in the race. He gets out of a tackle and then fires a flat punt towards the goal. Grant is there in front of Davidson. Now Collard heads for the boundary. A little bit of experience there from Cliff Collard. But South are under enormous pressure here, Noel.
Yes, they are. It's been hard to score goals down the other end, and now that they're behind, they've got to make all that leeway up, and it's very hard from here.
Scoop out by Collard to Matera, who turns into trouble. Anderson snaps. It's into the pocket and carries the line. So a free kick to be taken by the Bulldogs. Atkins in the very last line. It's 2 points the difference in favour of the Sharks.
And all players look a little tired. Some of the zing's gone out of their legs. And
the zang.
Yeah, and they're working very hard now.
It's a good kick by Atkins into the wind. He gets it outside 50 metres. Irving up to get it to the front of the pack. Collins was pulled off it. Hines trapped it with his legs. That was Brad Collard crashing through. Irving off the ground. Gives Herneman a chance. He's shown great courage this afternoon. He kicks the ball up towards half forward, and Williams takes the mark. No play on is the call.
He's had his hands on the ball a lot and been able to spill a lot of marks.
George McAlgic watching the footy.
Throwing it right half forward for South Fremantle. They trail by 2 points. They're really going to have to pull something out of the fire to win this game. They're working into a very stiff southeasterly wind in very cold conditions. Quill takes Malaxis's hand pass and kicks back towards centre wing, and the ball has gone out of play on the full. So it will be a free kick to Souths. There you see the wind to be taken by Collins, who's had a fairly tough afternoon. He gets good carry with the kick up to half forward. Reed spoils from behind. Play allowed to go on. Hepburn was looking for the kick. It's tied up at half forward for Souths. East Fremantle beaten grand finalists in 1986. Souths, since they last won it, lost in 81 to Claremont by 15 points and in 1989 to Claremont by 67 points. Players on their half-forward line. They're in grave danger of losing this one too unless they can find something special. Hurried kick from Bilsic, goes to half-forward. Hines charges at it. The ball ricochets towards the centre circle. Clementi uses his feet well but got an unkind bounce. That allowed Cracker into the contest, and there'll be a bounce almost in the centre circle.
We've played 11 minutes. South trying to get that goal they need so desperately to put them back in front. Nothing separating the teams at the moment, but East Fremantle, he'd be happy if he took 7-4 this morning at the moment. Malaxa scrambles through the pack, kicks to full forward. Lester Smith has it knocked away by Collard. Atkins at the back. Hand passes out wide. Collins got a good bounce. Hand passes upfield. Dunstan knocks it into the path of Collins. He hand passes in front of his body. Pushed out of the way by Lockyer. Picked up by Quill. Quill has a look. Kicks to the pocket. Condon knocked away by Irving, who follows it up and boots it out of the danger zone. Back to the half-back line, and the mark taken by Kumino. He's got support. This is Herneman from the middle. A good kick to full forward. Big pack up. Hepburn was there. Campbell on the loose ball. Campbell, he's dangerous from 40. Couldn't bring it back enough. 1 point the difference. We saw a draw in the reserves grand final, and in extra time, the Bulldogs beat Claremont. So that was the foundations for this very exciting grand final. Anderson's out there on his own. 10 metres in the clear. Kicks to the wing and finds Quill. Now this is good football by the Sharks. It's dangerous. A positive build-up. Atkins got tangled up with his teammate, but Brad Collard recovered, tackled by Davidson. Now Flugie avoided the trip from Lawrence. This is Irving. Irving goes long towards centre-half forward. Hepburn into the pack. Can't mark. Campbell. He's got it. Moss tackles. He got his kick in, but Browning's in front of Edwards. Can't control it cleanly. Back goes Browning and pushes to the boundary.
That's Campbell.
It's Campbell down hurt behind play. Gee, he's just got to get up. The throw-in's going to take place at right full forward for Souths. Campbell is on his feet in the hands of the trainers. He just has to play on. Edwards in there in front position. Chance for Nichols to tidy up at the back. In comes Browning. We'll have a bounce, I would think, at right full forward for Souths.
Temperature's dropped to 11 degrees, while in case you're interested.
That's Capewell.
Got your woolly underpants on, Will.
It's cold, isn't it? Bounce down, favoured Edwards, who knocks it back into the field of play. Matera ran onto it. Collard crashes through. Hand pass has gone astray. And East Fremantle clear through Moss. It goes back to half-back. Taken brilliantly off hands by Nichols. He kicks to half-forward. This is a quick transference of play. Souths can't afford to be caught napping. Grant comes across. Lawrence has it. Cracker went without it. Collard's able to tie it up. Ooh.
Well, that was bad play from Craig Edwards, knocking that ball with the breeze, knocking it towards East Fremantle's way. You must always go your own way, especially in that situation. And East Fremantle were able to pounce on the ball, and with 2 good kicks were right down into their attacking zone.
East Fremantle lead by a point. 13-14 minutes gone in the final quarter of the grand final. Collard knocks it towards the boundary. It's taken by Flugie. He did that superbly. Got around Quill and puts it back to centre wing. Play on is the call. Taken by Bilsich for East Fremantle. Back it goes to half forward. Chance at the back now for South to tidy up. Collins kicks towards the centre of the ground. Clementi, and he'll have some run. He looks towards the half-forward line where Williams is out in front of Amirandi. Williams trapped that cleverly. He's still got the ball in front of him. He tracks Amirandi, goes towards goal. He was offline. Well, he is offline, and he was off balance, was what I was trying to say.
And he was off away from Amirandi, wasn't it? We've seen his pace, and we've seen also I see some pace in Nicholls' legs too. So obviously he's really lifted his ratings as well. But that was a great chase by Amirandi, but wasn't good enough to run young Russell Williams down.
Capewell back on. Lawrence is off. Browning puts it back into play. Newman in the pack, punched away by Hines. Newman too tall there. Got it away towards Bilsich, who thumps to the members' wing, and Capewell has it knocked away by Collins. Flugie overruns it, so does Nichols. Matera's turned into a brick wall. The ball being held to him, according to the umpire.
Some of the South runners starting to get away a little, Trevor. It's the first time I've seen them for quite some while, being able to get that small break on their opposition.
Scores are level. We've played 15 minutes. What a grand final. Clementi's there trying to wrestle it away from his opponent, Bilsich. That's how cold it is. I told you it was cold here. You didn't believe me, did you, Will?
He'd line up in the Rally Australia, couldn't he?
That might have been Ayrton Senna. Hines, Newman beats him. Gives it to Cracker at close quarters. Crummell, that was nicely done. Down to Malaxis. Here's danger for the Bulldogs. Davidson has it fisted away by Grant. Cochran's got it. Lester Smith, the danger man, runs away from Atkins and puts it through. The Sharks have some breathing space. They lead by 1 straight kick.
Yes, great play there by East Fremantle. You can see Condon was in a good position. He couldn't mark, but he was able to recover. But this man's the man that's kept them really going all day. Steve Malaxis pumping the ball forward again. Good work there by Condon. Had the good insight there. Neil Lester-Smith had run away from his opponent and was able to kick an easy bread and butter goal, one of the trademark goals of Neil Lester-Smith, and he's given his side a 6-point buffer.
9:18 to 9:12, East Fremantle lead. We're 16 minutes into the final quarter. Mille is trying to get it going again, but it's taken away by Dunstan. Sends it ahead of Williams. Williams with Amirandi. That must be a free kick, surely.
Oh, umpire.
Oh, gee, jumped right into Williams' back. As East Fremantle make another change, Treleaven goes on, and I think it's Crummell who's come off. Boundary throw-in just outside South's 50-metre line. Williams, I think, can consider himself a little unlucky as Rick goes over the up. It spills to Quill, however. He gets a hurried kick back towards the half-back line. Condon went early. It's knocked on by Amirandi. Gives East Fremantle a run of the ball, and they make about 20 or 30 metres with a socket kick towards half-forward. Oh, it's a doer struggle now. It will be the survival of the fittest.
Brownie was angry at quarter time about the umpiring. I don't think that would have done anything for his adrenaline, would it?
It's not likely to have changed his opinion, is it? Condon in front. Condon from behind Hines. Down towards half forward. Collard back on Lester-Smith. Malcolm Brown down on the boundary line in the coach's dugout. Condon and Atkins. Knocked forward by Cliff Collard, but taken by Nichols. It lands with Lester-Smith again. Back towards goal. He goes, oh, don't tell me. He can go kickless for an entire game and come out and win it for you. He has kicked two of the most crucial goals in the game so far. Neil Lester-Smith. And East Fremantle suddenly lead by 12 points.
Well, good work there again by Condon. Trent Nichols able to squeeze that ball out. Lester-Smith from 50 metres. Oh, he's a dangerous player around the goals, and especially if, when the East Fremantle side get a run on, he's always there to finish it off. A very, very dangerous player. He's had quite a good game, but he hasn't been the dominant player that he's been throughout the season, but two very, very handy and telling goals.
Newman wins the tap. Clementi sharks it, they're out of the middle. Thumps it to an open forward line. Hepburn has it knocked away by Reid. Williams feeds Flugie from 60 metres. He kicks towards the top of the square. Spinks is there. Great mark, Browning.
That's tremendous play. He followed Craig Edwards up on the lead, then had the audacity to run back and take the mark as well.
Malaxis kicks it out of the danger zone. Newman misses it. Sharks are out there in number though. Quill boots it up to half forward. Lester-Smith and Collins are out there. Lester-Smith keeps it in. Now he's got to chase it, but it beats him over.
Well, the problems are for South is they take so much energy and effort and craftsmanship to work that ball into that breeze, and then it comes out, rebounds, and comes out so easily. And that's the crying shame for their midfielders, because the big fellas up forward can't lock the ball in there.
Condon working hard. Collard at ground level gets it to Herneman. He gets it to Collard somehow. He kicks to the middle of the ground. Reid in front of Hepburn. Hand passes away. Good work, Clementi. Pace from Cracker. Fimino's with him though. Fimino working hard at ground level now. Squirts it out. Clementi controlling the ball brilliantly from the middle. Kicks to centre half forward. Campbell and Moss. Moss almost the mark.
Oh.
Edwards went crashing through. Browning. Running into him was Dunstan.
Great
got it
play,
away. And Quill's got the footy. And the Sharks are in control again. The kick to half forward. Collard's there, so is Cracker. Lester-Smith at the back. Tackle. Ball squirts out. But he was tackled. No, he pushed it out, scooped it out. And the free kick going to Cliffy Collard of the Bulldogs.
Short kick is taken by Flugie. Souths have to get another goal quickly if they're to have any chance. Slips through Hepburn's fingers. Reid goes across. Close to the line. Throwing it right half forward for Souths. East Fremantle are 10-18. Souths are 9-12. Gee, they're sitting pretty close to one another. Perhaps they didn't know each other. Chance at the back of the pack for Bilsich. Hepburn goes in and ties it up. It comes out to Matera. Matera gets it further afield to Dunstan. Dunstan shoots from about 45 metres. They need a goal, and they've got it behind. Well, it just won't go South's way at the moment. They've still got time, but they just haven't got any cohesion in their forward line. Edwards has been superbly held by Browning today. He must be a contender for the Simpson medal, as I would think Steve Malaxis is. They've been the players that have held East Fremantle in this game during the tougher times, or its tougher moments. And now Browning from full-back will get it as far out as he can. He missed kicks, landed with Malaxis, spilled off his chest, and the umpire will bounce it down almost on the 50-metre line.
Well, he called play on there because both the East Fremantle players had their hands on it.
Chance for Fremantle, South's captain. Capewell wrestling with him. We'll have a bounce in the same position. Well, it's been a relentless struggle throughout this afternoon. East Fremantle led by 20 points at half-time, but that was the only time that either team has really been on top. Nichols, and he'll be happy to see it go out. The throw-in is at left half forward for Souths. It's a long time since a player from either of these clubs won the Simpson medal. Morris Rioli won it in 1981, and before that, the best effort for Souths was Brian Sikatosto, or the most recent medalist before that was Brian Sikatosto in 1970. For East Fremantle, Kevin Taylor was successful in 1979. Gary Gibellini in 1974. Thrown at left half forward for South. Simpson medals will be the furthest thing from these players' minds at the moment as they try and claim the Premiership Cup. Vilsic unloads to half forward for East Fremantle. Trelevin is there, and it's forced out by Collins.
Time's running out for the Bulldogs as Trelevin comes on. Some fresh legs for the Sharks. Malcolm Brown hasn't got that opportunity. He's only got 17 men out there as it is at the moment, 17 fit men. Matera to Brad Collard from the point of the square. The kick to the wing, dunced it up one hand. Capewell off hands to Firmino, who's tackled, loses it. Malaxis soccers it. Vilsic won't mind that going out.
Firmino wanted to use the ball there, Trevor, instead of kicking on the finals football, move the ball on quickly. He was looking to do something polished with it rather than just pushing it forward for South.
Newman has played his heart out for the Sharks, wrestles with Hines. Vilsic gets it to Anderson, who gets it to Nichols, who off the ground made about 10 metres, but Lester Smith couldn't control it. He was under pressure. And now Flugie boots it to half forward. Hepburn up from behind Reid. Saves his best football for the last quarters, as he did last week. He was murdered in the third quarter by Hepburn. Certainly come back in this last term. Now Hepburn does the ruck work with Newman. Firmino. Matera keeps it in. No, he couldn't control it. And South look a bit tired now, Noel.
Well, they've been chasing for the long part of the day, and they're still trying to play this game right out. But I think the time might be sneaking up on them at this stage.
Newman over the top that time. It comes off hands to Nichols, who thumps it long. Going back, Condon. Oh, great mark.
That could be.
No, he just run into. He's run into Irving's
it was accidental, but the way he hit his head on his leg, I thought he could have been got a really bad
mark, wasn't it?
Oh, gee.
Would you think a headache could stop you from taking this kick at this time of the stage of the game, Wally?
Well, it would stop me, I must say, no. To answer truthfully.
Obviously, you've never been in a position like this and played in a grand final, but I'm sure that Lester Smith will direct him in the right way anyway.
You're not having a go at my little mate, are you? Condon lines up. This will be the sealer if he boots it. We're about to go into time on from 40 metres. It's offline. Lockyer will fly, but it carries him and one behind the result. So it's back to 2 goals, and that's going to be hard to do for South.
Especially into the breeze. I mean, it's been very, very hard, and goals have been at a premium into the breeze, so it's a hard ask.
Collard puts it back. Newman will thump it back. He's hurt too, Ian Newman. Is it Newman?
Yes, it is Newman. Just put under a bit of pressure there by Marty Atkins. Well, the problem was Brad Collard was kicking out and he didn't make as much distance as the normal fullback would have done, and the ball's dropped short. South haven't worked that out yet this far into the game, that the ball's going to drop short when you kick it into the breeze.
So Newman to shoot on goal from just on 50 metres here. Generally a pretty reliable kick. South lead by, the Sharks lead by 2 goals. Newman from 50, drop punch straight as a gun barrel. The Sharks will win the grand final of '92 in one of the biggest boilovers of the season.
What a
the Bulldogs were 9-4 on to win this grand final today, and the Sharks have upended them, and it really has been a memorable match.
Well, it has been. It's been a memorable match because it's been well thought out by Ken Judge. The matchups, the way that East Fremantle players have stuck to their task, and that's a great job by Ian Newman there to kick that goal. He's worked tirelessly in the ruck, not only today, but right throughout the season. He's played a lone hand in the ruck and done such a wonderful job.
18 points is the margin now as Fremantle gets the kick towards the half-forward line for South. Malaxas sprint back with courage. Reid has it. This is Quill. Quill towards the wing. Williams not favoured by the bounce. I thought he would have been. It bounces over Treleven's head and Brad Collard's. Williams first back to it. East Fremantle able to tie it up. Amaranti hooks it into half-forward and Condon takes the mark.
Will he be within kicking distance from there?
Well, it's all going East Fremantle's way now. And the rest of this game is academic. Something of a missed kick, and Condon was best placed to capitalise on it. There's Ken Judge. He's pretty relaxed about it all now. Interesting that East Fremantle's last two premiership coaches both came from East Perth. It's good for them to have a homegrown one. As Condon doesn't quite get onto this kick, it lands in the square, off the ground from Lester Smith, and eventually it rolls into the post. That's the behind post, so we're going to have a boundary throw in at left full forward for East Fremantle. Souths haven't kicked a goal in the final quarter. As the rucks assemble, Irving is there across the top of Lockyer, who took clean possession. Matera has it. He's worked hard this afternoon, but missed kicks or didn't get the clearance he needed. Taken by Malaxas, who chips it to centre half forward, and Nichols takes the mark. Trent Nichols will shoot on goal from just outside 50 metres.
It's ironic that he's taken the shot for goal because it was really Trent Nichols last week against East Perth, him and Newman in that last quarter, that really got East Fremantle to the position they are today. And be fitting that if he could kick a goal here, but on the 29-minute mark of the last quarter.
The applause for Ken Judge as he comes down the grandstand steps. Nichols lines up. It's a good kick. It's a terrific kick. And they are jubilant at centre half.
There's the siren.
Oh, where's the siren? It's all over.
It's a 5-2.
East Fremantle had won the premiership. East Fremantle had defeated South Fremantle. The final score 12-19-91. The Souths 9-13-67. The margin 24 points in favour of East Fremantle.
The fight's broken up because the celebrations to be had tonight. Kenny Judge and Andrew Lockyer is jubilant because he's turned something around that didn't look possible. South Fremantle had won 4 derbies this year, and somehow he's changed their attitude, their mental approach, their physical approach, and they've overcome the odds. The underdogs have won the grand final.
It was disappointing to see South players leaving round 2. I think that it'd be a good idea if they would stay out here and savour and have a look at some of the jubilation that East Fremantle will go through, and that's so that it hurts a lot more over the summer for them because they were set up for this game and they couldn't carry it out, and it's a pity that they are leaving the field.
The vanquished, the winners. There's certainly a big difference between the two. There's no prize for the second on grand final day.
Oh, no. The point has been made so often this week, Trevor, by so many people that there's a trend in West Australian football, at least, if not in other major leagues, that it sometimes takes a young team a couple of grand finals before they can actually win one. And we saw that with Subiaco and with Claremont. And perhaps that is the case as far as Souths are concerned, because they are a very young team. As we mentioned, they had their handful of experienced players, but they had 5 first-year players out there today compared with East Fremantle's 1. I think Moss did play a couple of games for Swan, so